The night has settled quietly around you. The last of the day's noise drifts outward. Cars hum farther away, screens fade to grey, and the room begins to breathe at its own unhurried rhythm. Somewhere above the roof, beyond the thin hush of atmosphere, the sky opens like a great window. Take a slow breath. Feel it arrive, linger, and leave again. Each breath is a tide, and with every tide you drift a little farther from the shore of the day. High above, in a darkness older than memory, a small golden mirror floats. It doesn't glitter or blink, it simply waits. The James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, is not racing through space but resting in it, steady as a candle in still air. If you could see it now, it would look like a delicate origami flower unfolded among the stars, its petals turned toward the faint warmth of creation itself. The universe at this hour feels patient. Light travels across impossible distances, taking its time. Every photon that touches the telescope's mirrors began its journey before there were trees, before oceans knew the shapes of their coasts, before Earth had a sky as you know it. Tonight, that ancient light is still moving, quietly, faithfully, toward a lens built by hands that once traced those same stars from the ground. You don't need to follow it far. Just imagine lying beneath that sky, the slow rhythm of your breathing matching the orbit of a satellite 1,000,000 miles away. There's no urgency, no countdown, only motion so smooth it feels like rest. Somewhere, engineers sleep after years of planning. Astronomers sip coffee in dim control rooms, whispering as numbers flow across their screens. The telescope itself makes no sound. Its mirrors turn without friction, its sensors listening where ears cannot. It doesn't look for noise or brilliance, only for faint beginnings, the earliest glimmers of light that have been traveling ever since the universe first exhaled. If you listen closely, not with your ears but with the imagination that listens between heartbeats, you might hear what silence sounds like in space. It's not emptiness, it's the hush before understanding. The same hush that exists between each of your breaths. As you settle deeper into that stillness, notice how your thoughts begin to slow. Each one floats for a moment, like dust in sunlight, then drifts away. This is how JWST sees the cosmos, not by rushing, but by waiting, by letting the faintest traces of light arrive on their own terms. Now the boundaries of your room begin to dissolve. The walls turn soft, the ceiling opens, and the dark above you feels endless but kind. Stars appear, scattered and small, each carrying a story far older than words. The telescope, distant and golden, reflects that starlight and sends it home to us. Quiet messages written in the language of light. And you, here, are part of that exchange. Your pulse, your warmth, your steady breathing all belong to the same universe that made those stars. Nothing is apart. Everything glows faintly together. Let that thought rest beside you like a companion. The idea that while you lie still, a delicate mirror far away is also keeping watch, steady and awake, collecting the first sighs of the cosmos. You don't need to do anything to deserve the view. Just be here. Just breathe. Soon we'll follow that golden mirror on its journey. But for now, the night is enough. The air is calm, the stars are gentle, and light ancient. Patient light is still finding its way home. Far from the blue comfort of home, a shape unfolds in darkness. There are no engines roaring, no spotlights flaring across metal. Only a whisper of motion, panels unfurling, gold petals turning toward the invisible warmth of the sun. The James Webb Space Telescope opens itself like something alive, slow and careful, every hinge a heartbeat measured in seconds, that last forever. Its mirrors, hexagonal and precise, catch the first thin rays of light. Not sunlight, not yet, but the faint glow that spills from a star 400 million miles away. It waits, steady, almost shy. Imagine being there with it, suspended over nothing, wrapped in darkness so complete that even silence feels loud. You would see those mirrors shimmer, not bright, but soft, the color of old honey, each one tilted just so, until all of them together form a single, perfect eye. That eye does not blink. It gazes outward, forever outward, toward the places where light is still remembering to arrive. Back on Earth, thousands watched as this unfolding began. They called out times, checked readings, and then grew quiet. For a moment, the entire planet held its breath. When the last panel locked into place, no fireworks followed. Just relief, a kind of gentle applause felt rather than heard, like the sound of waves far below the surface. JWST is a telescope, yes, but in another way it is a kind of listener. It listens not to sound but to heat, to the delicate warmth that ancient galaxies still release after billions of years. It listens the way you might listen to rain through a window, patiently without trying to capture every drop. Its mirrors are gold because gold does not judge, it simply reflects. Each facet sends the past gently inward into instruments that translate faint heat into color, pattern, story. Even its orbit is calm, a slow looping balance where sunlight and shadow meet and agree to share the telescope equally. There is something peaceful in that compromise, something human and cosmic at once. We built a machine to go farther than we can, yet it behaves like the best part of us, curious, patient, and kind. If you close your eyes now, you can picture it, a blossom of gold adrift in darkness, turning ever so slightly, as if listening for a whisper only it can hear. Every adjustment of its mirror is measured in nanometers, distances so small they might as well be breaths. One breath outward, one breath inward, until the image comes into focus. You don't have to remember the numbers or the years it took to reach this moment. Just remember the feeling that something beautiful is unfolding somewhere far above, quietly, faithfully, for no other reason than to see. Let that feeling settle into you. It is the same stillness that keeps the telescope steady, the same patience that allows light to find its mirror. You are both in this moment, the watcher and the watched, the mirror and the light. The night continues. Deeper now, the stars a little closer, their glow a little softer. Soon, we'll drift with the telescope toward the point where gravity balances, where motion becomes stillness. But for now, stay with the image of those golden mirrors, open and listening. They are not alone up there, and neither are you down here. There's a reason we keep turning our faces to the sky. Even before cities learned to glow, before glass and engines and metal mirrors, people lay beneath this same darkness and wondered what lived beyond it. They built small fires, and each flame was a question. Every spark rising upward was a wish trying to learn the language of the stars. That quiet impulse to look up has never left us. It moves in the same rhythm as breath, as tide, as heartbeat. When you step outside at night and your eyes adjust, something ancient wakes inside you. You feel the distance. Yes, but also the belonging. The telescope out there, folded in its orbit, is part of that same gesture. It's the hand we once lifted toward the constellations, only steadier now, stretched a little farther from the warmth of our world. Yet its purpose hasn't changed: to see, to listen, to remember. For as long as there have been eyes to open, light has been traveling to meet them. It doesn't hurry. It just keeps moving forward until it finds a mirror, a lens, a surface willing to receive it. Sometimes that surface is a pool of still water. Sometimes it's a sheet of gold a million miles away. And sometimes it's you, your eyes, half closed, catching the faint shimmer of imagination before sleep. We look up because it slows us down. There's no rush in starlight. You can't demand it, can't schedule its arrival. You can only wait, and in that waiting, something soft unfolds. It's the same patience the telescope lives by, holding steady, letting the universe speak first. Think of how every culture once named the constellations, threads of story woven between points of light. We drew bears and hunters, rivers and queens, patterns that reflected our own hearts back to us. The night became a mirror long before any metal one did. Even now, though our names have changed, the instinct is the same, to find connection in the vastness. As JWST gazes into distances we can barely imagine, it's not only gathering data, it's continuing our oldest ritual. Each image it sends home is another story we tell ourselves about how beautiful it is simply to exist and to see. And just as the telescope keeps its balance in darkness, we too find our balance when we pause long enough to notice the quiet above us. So tonight, as you lie here, let your thoughts drift upward like those ancient sparks. Picture the countless eyes that have done the same through ages. The shepherds, sailors, dreamers, scientists, all sharing this simple act of looking. The stars don't change for any of us, and yet somehow every gaze feels personal. In that sameness there is peace. You don't have to reach a conclusion or capture a fact. You can let wonder be unfinished. It was never meant to be solved, only felt. And as your breathing evens out, remember, each exhale is its own small offering to the night. Each inhale a quiet invitation to keep wondering. You are part of a lineage that stretches from campfires to telescopes, from stories whispered on wind to instruments drifting among stars. That is why we look up, not for answers, but for the calm that arrives when the questions are allowed to stay. When the telescope left Earth, it did so without drama. There was no sudden rush into darkness, no roar echoing across the stars. It slipped away quietly, as if the sky itself had opened a small door and invited it through. Below, the planet turned, a blue marble slowly spinning beneath layers of white breath. Clouds drifted, oceans shimmered, and all of human noise faded into distance. From that distance, Earth looked peaceful, not a world of busy days and restless minds, but a single glowing sigh against the dark. The James Webb Space Telescope began to move farther out, guided by tiny bursts of motion so gentle they could barely be called pushes. It was not a sprint, but a glide, a patient unfurling into the cold. For nearly a month it traveled, unfolding itself piece by piece. First the solar shield, then the mirrors, then the instruments that would listen to invisible light. Each stage was like a breath: inhale, adjust, exhale, rest. And with every breath, it drifted farther from the gravity that once held it close. You might imagine the journey now, the telescope a golden feather gliding along the river of sunlight, the Earth behind it growing smaller, softer, until even the moon is only a pale memory. Space is not empty. It is quiet, a quiet so deep that it feels alive, like the pause between heartbeats. In that stillness, the telescope moves toward a balance point called Fidi-Lagrange 20c, a place where gravity from Earth and Sun cancel each other out. There, motion becomes rest, and rest becomes motion again. If you listen closely, you can feel that balance inside yourself. The part of you that's still holding on to the day slowly lets go, while another part begins to float, light as dust in sunlight. There's nothing to control, nothing to fix. Only the steady unfolding of what already knows how to be. The telescope drifts through shadow and sun, turning its golden face away from the glare, keeping its back warm and its front cool. It moves by the gentlest of forces, almost weightless, yet always certain of its direction. Every mile it travels is both departure and arrival. Scientists on the ground watch the data come in, lines, numbers, patterns. But for JWST, there is only the rhythm of travel. No urgency, no fear. It was built to trust the silence. And as you picture it gliding, feel your own breath doing the same, moving smoothly through the quiet of your body, slow, effortless, finding its own perfect orbit of calm. Soon, JWST will reach its resting place, 1,000,000 miles from home. It will face the universe and begin to listen, patiently gathering the light that left its source before Earth was born. But for now, let it drift. Let yourself drift. Both of you are on your way to stillness. After weeks of quiet travel, the telescope reaches its destination. There is no finish, line flare, no countdown echoing through control rooms. Just a line of numbers on a distant screen changing from fun approaching fun 2 to arrived at D. At the edge of sunlight, 1,000,000 miles from the world that built it. The James Webb Space Telescope begins to rest. Its golden mirrors face away from the Sunday, their backs warmed by the soft heat of home, their fronts open to the endless cold. Everything around it is still. No air, no sound, only the hum of instruments and the silent whisper of light. Imagine that calm, a balance so perfect that gravity itself holds its breath. In this place, called 40L2***, Earth and Sunday pull equally, and the pull becomes peace. The telescope will drift with them, always falling yet never falling away, circling a circle that never ends, down below. Engineers lean closer to their screens. The readings settle. Temperatures stabilize. The mirrors shimmer faintly as they focus together into one flawless eye. For a moment, even the people watching forget to speak. The mission that began as hope now becomes presence. Up there, JWST turns slowly, adjusting a fraction of a degree at a time. Every movement is smaller than the blink of a thought. Yet each one matters. When alignment is complete, the telescope looks outward for the first time, not toward the Sunday, not toward home, but toward everything else. It does not see darkness. It sees possibility, where our eyes would find emptiness. Its sensors find light that has traveled for billions of years to meet them. That meeting, of past and present, of journey and arrival, is what the entire mission was made for. And here, as you breathe, you can share that same sense of balance. The pull of the day on one side, the pull of rest on the other. holding you perfectly still between them. You are in your own orbit, now steady, safe, and quietly turning inside the night. Outside your window, the world keeps moving, oceans shifting, winds crossing continents, but their sounds are far away. Inside this moment, there is only softness. The telescope floats. You breathe. Each pulse of light it receives is another heartbeat in the long rhythm of the universe. For the first time, JWST's instruments begin to open their eyes. They will gather light, color, memory, signals that began before any dream of humankind existed. And while it listens, so do you. Together you rest, one body beneath blankets of atmosphere, the other beneath blankets of cosmic dust, both sharing the same silence. The night doesn't end here. It only changes shape. Tomorrow the telescope will begin to see the oldest dawns, and you will wake refreshed, still touched by that same quiet glow. For now, stay with the stillness. Let the orbit hold you. Let sleep arrive as gently as light finding gold. Far beyond the gold petals of the telescope, light is still arriving. It doesn't rush, and it never has. It moves like thought, impossibly fast, yet calm in its purpose, crossing the dark between stars without losing itself. Every beam, every shimmer that touches JWST's mirrors began as something small, a particle born from fire, a sigh from the beginning of time. These are photons send, but you can think of them as messengers, each one carrying a single word from a story written billions of years ago. Imagine a universe so new that it hadn't yet learned to shine. There were no stars, no colors, only a quiet sea of cooling atoms. And then, slowly, the first light appeared, soft, tentative, like the first breath after sleep. That was nearly 14 billion years ago, and the light from those first moments is still on its way to us. JWST is waiting to receive it, patient as ever, its mirrors wide open like a listening ear. The telescope doesn't chase the light, it allows the light to arrive. Its instruments are tuned to catch whispers, not shouts. Each signal is delicate, ancient warmth stretched thin by time. And yet, when gathered and translated, it becomes an image of the past so vivid that it feels present. If you close your eyes now, you can picture one of those photons completing its journey. For longer than life has existed on Earth, it has traveled without pause, passing nebulae, brushing dust, bending gently around unseen gravity wells. Nothing has stopped it. And now, after all that time, it finds a golden mirror waiting one small, still surface in the vast ocean of space. When it lands, it doesn't make a sound. It simply gives up its secret. The telescope reads that faint energy and tells us where it came from, what kind of star, what kind of gas, how long ago the universe was when it began. Every photon becomes a page, and JWST is the quiet reader who never misses a line. Down here, we translate those readings into color. Blues and reds, golds and violets. To the telescope, these colors don't mean beauty, they mean truth. But to us, they mean both. In each shade we see history and art intertwined. Think about that. Light traveling for billions of years through nothing, only to end its journey in reflection. Not lost, not forgotten, but finally seen. Perhaps light remembers everything it has touched. Perhaps, in a way, you do too. Every memory you keep is a kind of reflection, a photon of the mind still glowing, still traveling through you. JWST doesn't collect light to own it. It gathers light so that we can remember what once was. It teaches us that the past is not gone. It's simply farther away, waiting to be seen again by anyone patient enough to look. Tonight, you can join that patience. You can let your own thoughts slow into the rhythm of light, endless, effortless, moving forward without fear of time. The day behind you becomes another distant glow, and ahead, a softer brightness waits. Light does not end where it touches the mirror. It continues, transformed, translated, shared. Just as your waking world will turn into dream, and your dream will become the quiet prelude to another dawn. Let the light travel. Let it remember for you. And as you drift, imagine those golden mirrors catching another photon now, an echo from when the universe was new, and offering it gently to the calm that surrounds you. Before there were stars, there was darkness. Not the darkness of absence, but a gentle waiting, a space filled with warmth that had not yet learned to shine. In those first moments after the beginning, the universe was smaller than an idea and larger than understanding. Everything that would ever exist every star, every planet, every life was still folded together, quietly like a seed sleeping beneath soil. Then time began to stretch. The universe exhaled, and that breath became light. It wasn't sudden or loud. There was no blinding flash that tore through space. Instead, light seeped gently into being, as though the cosmos had opened its eyes for the very first time. The glow was soft, endless, patient, a radiance that filled every direction at once. Astronomers call it twin-first light, but perhaps it was more like a sunrise without a horizon, a dawn that touched everything at the same time. Every corner of space began to hum with quiet energy, a note so low and steady that it still resonates through the background of existence even now. That faint hum, that ancient warmth, is the 4D cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of creation itself. JWST cannot see that first glow directly. It listens instead for what came next. The stars that lit their own fires from that early breath, the galaxies that learned to gather in spirals and swirls. But the telescope's story and your story both begin in that first light. Imagine standing in a darkness, so vast you cannot tell where it ends, and suddenly feeling a quiet warmth spread through you. No words, no form, only a glow, gentle and infinite, like comfort that does not need a reason. That is what the universe felt in its first moment of illumination. The light did not arrive Sudi space, it Fudiwasi space, every particle, every atom, shining with the memory of origin. Billions of years later, that glow still drifts through the cosmos, cooled and stretched by time, whispering the same simple truth. Everything that exists began as light. You are part of that story. The warmth in your hands, the flicker behind your eyelids, the heartbeat slowing as you listen. Each of these is made from the same light that once filled the newborn universe. JWST was built to see the earliest sparks that followed that first dawn. The young stars kindling in the dark, their light soft and red with age. It peers back not just through distance, but through memory, gently uncovering the universe's childhood. And as it does, it reminds us that beginnings rarely roar. Most often, they whisper. The first dawn was not a blaze of certainty. It was a promise spoken softly into the dark. Let that idea rest with you now, that creation itself began with calm, that light's first act was simply to exist. As your breathing slows, you can imagine that same gentle glow surrounding you, not a light you see with your eyes, but a warmth you feel behind your thoughts. The universe is still unfolding, still stretching its quiet arms across the dark, and you are resting in its embrace. The golden mirrors of the telescope do not see the universe the way we do. They see what the eye cannot, light that has been stretched thin by distance and time, light so soft that it no longer glows in color, but in warmth. This is the world of fond infrared, the language of heat and memory. Every object that was ever warm still speaks in it, quietly. Even the coldest galaxies murmur in infrared tones like coals that refuse to go dark. The James Webb Space Telescope was built to listen to that warmth. Its instruments are sensitive enough to detect the soft radiance of a candle on the moon. Yet they spend their days focused on light, 1,000,000 times fainter. Each mirror collects those signals, sends them down to its heart of sensors, and there the data becomes pattern, then color, then story. To the telescope, time is visible. When it looks far away, it does not see then and now as separate. It sees them overlapping, ancient light arriving in this moment, as fresh as a new breath. If you were to stand beside it, somehow floating in the silence of space, and look where it looks, your eyes would see blackness. But the telescope would see a soft glow woven through that dark threads of crimson and amber pulled taut by distance. Each color tells how long its light has been traveling. This is why scientists call JWST a time machine, though it moves nowhere. It stays still and lets the past come to it. It waits as light arrives, each photon bearing a memory older than our planet. In that stillness, the universe rewinds itself gently, showing how galaxies grew and how stars first burned. You can feel a hint of that process now, in your own breathing. Each inhale is a gathering, each exhale a release. When you breathe slowly, the moments between breaths stretch just a little wider, and inside those pauses, time feels different, softer, less linear, more like a circle. That's how JWST experiences the cosmos. a continuous flow where past and present touch. Down on Earth, when the first images arrived, people wept. They expected pictures, but what they saw was something else. A sense that time itself had texture. Every galaxy was a tiny spiral of ancient fire, and between them lay the silence of billions of years. Imagine that view now, a field of light spilled across infinity, each point a sun older than language. JWST sees them not as dots but as echoes, each one vibrating with the memory of its birth. And you, in your own way, are doing the same. When you remember something kind or beautiful, you are seeing back through your own time. You are your own telescope, collecting moments, translating warmth into meaning. The light JWST reads has traveled for billions of years, yet when it touches those golden mirrors, it is present, alive, immediate. So too with memory. What was once long ago can return in an instant of awareness. Let that thought settle in you like starlight on gold. The past doesn't vanish, it softens and waits, ready to be seen by eyes willing to see in warmth instead of color. Now the telescope floats quietly, its instruments cool and steady. The light it catches is faint but faithful. Time moves both forward and back, and you rest in the center of that flow, still and safe. When the telescope turns its gaze toward a patch of sky, it does not seek brightness. It looks into what seems to be emptiness, a space no larger than a grain of sand held at arm's length. To the naked eye, that spot is nothing, but to the James Webb Space Telescope, it is everything. In that tiny field, the sensors gather light for days. Each photon that arrives carries its own timestamp, a record of when it left home. Some began their journey before our sun was born, before Earth had oceans, before life knew what breathing was. And yet all that time collapses into a single image. What we see are galaxies, thousands of them, spirals and ellipses and faint smudges of ancient fire. Each one is a city of stars, some already gone, their light still traveling, still arriving, faithful to its course. To look at such an image is to see billions of years at once, a slow unfolding of time captured in one quiet frame. But the feeling it brings is not confusion, it's peace. There is something deeply comforting about this, that the universe has been busy, patiently creating and recreating itself, long before our thoughts began. And it will continue long after they rest. If you've ever watched waves on the shore, you've seen this pattern before. Each one different, each one the same, the ocean renewing itself endlessly. Galaxies are cosmic waves. They rise, they break, they fade into the stillness from which others emerge. JWST records these waves not in seconds or hours, but in the soft language of light years. When its golden mirrors focus, they do not look further farther, they look further earlier. Every deeper image is a step back through the universe's memory, layer by layer, until we see the first ripples of creation itself. To hold such a picture in your mind is to hold the story of everything, not as a lesson, but as a lullaby, a reassurance that time is not running out, but simply flowing, forever circling through beginning and becoming. Think of your own life in that same way, moments overlapping like starlight, memories and hopes mingling until they're inseparable. Nothing truly disappears, it just moves farther away, until one day it returns as light again. When JWST sends those deep images to Earth, scientists color them to reveal the hidden wavelengths. Reds become the mark of distance of age. The farther the galaxy, the redder the hue. And yet, the picture that emerges feels whole and present, a single tapestry woven from time itself. You can rest within that tapestry now. There is no rush to understand it. Just let it unfold in your mind like a slow-motion sunrise. Each galaxy a thought, each thought a spark, all drifting together in quiet harmony. The telescope continues to watch, and you continue to breathe. Light crosses time to reach gold. Breath crosses stillness to reach sleep. In both, there is arrival. In both, there is peace. There comes a point when light has traveled so far that it slows the heart just to think about it. A glow that began billions of years ago, still making its way across the dark, still finding mirrors, eyes, and quiet souls willing to see. This is the oldest light, the soft remainder of beginnings. It is not the bright, blinding kind. It's the hush that lingers after creation speaks. A warmth without heat, a color without name. JWST lives within that hush. Its gold mirrors open like petals under noonday sun, but the light they gather is as old as time itself. It doesn't blaze. It arrives gently, like a memory returning. Each photon that touches the telescope's face is a traveler finishing its story. It began in chaos, crossed space older than any map, passed the births and deaths of countless stars, and found its destination in silence. If you listen carefully, you might feel a reflection of that journey in yourself. You too have crossed long distances of days, of years, of thought. And yet here you are, arriving again in stillness. The telescope translates those faint signals into images we can see. But what it really gives us is a feeling that the universe remembers us, that the act of looking is itself a kind of being seen. When scientists receive the data, they stretch it into color, turning invisible warmth into visible grace. Reds become dawn, blues become depth, and through their quiet work, the oldest light is reborn as something human, something we can hold in our eyes and hearts at once. You don't need to understand the equations or instruments. You only need to know this, that some of the light touching your skin tonight began its journey before there was land or ocean, before there were names for stars or words for love. It has crossed time to meet you now softly, without demand. It asks for nothing but your stillness. So breathe slowly. Feel the space around you. Let it grow wide and quiet, like the distance between galaxies. A distance that isn't loneliness, but room for everything to exist without crowding anything else. The telescope remains steady, floating in that endless calm. It watches, listens, waits. In every direction it looks, it finds the same truth: that darkness is never truly empty, and that even the faintest light can travel forever if given the chance. The universe, in its quiet way, has never stopped shining, and now, neither have you. Your body rests, your breathing slows, but somewhere inside, a small awareness stays awake, not alert, just softly glowing. That is your own oldest light, the calm spark that has survived every distance. Let it stay. Let it remind you that you, too, are part of what endures. That even as the telescope gathers echoes of the first dawn, you are gathering this one, the moment you allowed yourself to rest in the same peace the cosmos keeps. The stars outside will continue their work. The telescope will keep listening, and you will drift as they do, weightless and infinite, resting in the glow of what has always been. After the first light, there was movement, not sudden, not harsh, just the universe stirring in its sleep. Where there had once been only glow and silence, tiny differences began to appear. One place slightly warmer, another slightly cooler. A slow dance began, gravity leaning close, whispering, "Phi, come together." And so it did. The light gathered matter, matter gathered into clouds, and within those clouds the first stars began to form. They were small and short-lived, burning fast and bright, their flames both creation and farewell. But their brief lives, when they ended, they left behind the elements of everything to come: carbon, oxygen, iron, gold, the ingredients of planets, oceans, breath, the dust of beginnings. It is easy to imagine this as noise, as explosions and storms. But if you were there, if somehow you could float amid that newborn cosmos, it would have felt more like music, a slow hum beneath all things, a melody too vast for sound, too perfect for haste. The James Webb Space Telescope gazes into that era now. Its eyes reach so far back that it can see galaxies forming from those early clusters, spirals of light curling in slow motion. What JWST captures is not chaos, but choreography. Each galaxy, each star is a phrase in that cosmic dance. Their motion obeys a rhythm older than time itself, a rhythm that continues in your pulse even now. As you breathe, imagine that breath traveling outward, becoming part of the same current that shaped the first galaxies. You inhale, the universe gathers. You exhale, the universe releases. The same pattern, repeating across scale and eternity. JWST's instruments translate that ancient light into images, filaments of gold and rose stretching across endless night. What looks like fog is not fog at all, but clouds of hydrogen and dust, the raw breath of the universe still forming stars. When you look at those pictures, you are not seeing destruction or confusion. You are seeing patience. Creation, as it truly happens, is quiet work. It takes billions of years to build something as simple as beauty. The telescope's data shows that even in its infancy, the universe was already making art. Galaxies appeared like brushstrokes on a dark canvas, each one unique, each one telling a slightly different story of gravity and time. Down here on this small world orbiting one modest star, we echo that artistry in every act of imagination, every attempt to create harmony from the unknown. So when you think of the beginning, don't picture fire or explosion. Picture a slow blossoming, a petal opening, in darkness, unhurried, graceful, inevitable. That is how the first galaxies formed. That is how you drift into sleep. Both are acts of surrender. Both require trust in what unfolds. The telescope continues to look back, not searching for the moment everything began, but for the moment everything learned how to become beautiful. And as you rest, you can feel that same quiet power around you, the invisible gravity of peace, gently pulling every thought into stillness. Everything that exists, everything that ever will, began as a small gathering of light and calm. And that gathering continues here, in your breath, in this moment, in the quiet chaos that keeps creating you too. In the stillness of its orbit, the telescope turns toward what appears to be nothing. A patch of sky so small you could hide it behind a grain of sand held at arm's length. No twinkle, no glimmer, just darkness stretching endlessly. It points there because that is where time hides. The James Webb Space Telescope begins to watch, not for seconds or minutes, but for days. Each moment it gathers the faintest whispers of light, layer upon layer, like rain collecting in a quiet pool. Down on Earth, the people who built it wait in silence. Every photon that touches gold must travel through cables of data, through cold mathematics, until, at last, an image begins to bloom on a screen. At first, it looks like dust, a soft blur of specks on velvet. Then the blur sharpens. Each speck becomes a spiral, a cloud, a swirl of stars. What once looked empty now overflows. Thousands of galaxies, tiny, ancient, complete. Some shaped like pearls, others stretched thin by gravity. Each one containing suns and planets and stories of its own. And every bit of that light has traveled billions of years to arrive here, to be seen now tonight, in this calm orbit, through this quiet mirror. There is something humbling in that patience. Light never hurried to reach us, it simply kept going, and the telescope never chased it, it simply waited. Between those two acts of gentleness, a picture of eternity appeared. If you could drift beside the telescope now, you'd see it facing the dark like a meditating monk, still, golden content. No noise, no movement beyond tiny adjustments, smaller than a snowflake's width. And in that stillness, the universe unfolds itself. The deep field image is not loud or bright, it's quiet revelation, a reminder that even what seems empty may be full beyond measure. Every dot of light is a history book written in photons. Every glow is a sunrise long since finished, still finding eyes to greet it. People who saw the image for the first time described it as standing before infinity. Yet it doesn't feel frightening. It feels familiar, as if part of you remembers this view, a faint echo of home too vast to name. You can close your eyes and imagine it, a window opening in darkness. Beyond it, a sea of galaxies, each one spinning quietly in its own rhythm. There is no border, no edge, only continuation. The telescope continues to gaze, its sensors cool to silence, so they do not disturb the light they receive. It does not blink, does not tire. It simply listens, and as it listens, you can do the same. Your body rests, your mind drifts outward, and you realize that what the telescope is seeing is not just the distant universe, but the reflection of patience itself. All those years of work, all the hopes of countless people, all the waiting, now distilled into one peaceful image, a portrait of everything held inside nothing. Let that thought cradle you. Let the idea that 2D emptiness can be full become the blanket around your thoughts. The telescope remains steady, the stars remain kind, and the light that began before time as we know it keeps arriving, one gentle wave after another. This is what it means to look deeply, to find abundance in stillness, to discover that patience can reveal what rushing never could. And somewhere, in the quiet between heartbeats, you and the telescope are doing the same thing, waiting, watching, resting, until another secret of the universe chooses to appear. When we look at the night sky, we think we see everything. Pinpoints of silver, a faint mist of the Milky Way, the visible universe, mapped by our eyes. But our eyes only know a small fraction of the truth. Beyond the reds and violets, beyond the colors language can name, There are shades that have never touched human sight. The James Webb Space Telescope was built to see those hidden hues. Its golden mirrors collect the softest waves of light, light stretched by age and distance until it glows not in color, but in warmth. To us, it's invisible. To JWST, it's a living rainbow we've never known. When its instruments translate that light, they give us images that feel both real and dreamlike. Nebulae appear as rivers of crimson and jade. Galaxies shine in gold and amber. What once looked black becomes a field of quiet fire. But these are not artificial colors. They're revelations. The universe, seen in wavelengths, our eyes forgot how to recognize. Infrared light can pass through dust and cloud. It can reach into the hidden hearts of galaxies, where stars are born in silence, wrapped in veils of gas too thick for visible light to escape. To JWST, those veils are transparent. It peers through them gently, uncovering the luminous seeds of new suns. There's something reassuring in that idea, that even when things seem obscured, there is beauty waiting behind the cloud. That sometimes what's hidden is simply waiting for the right kind of light. You might think of your own life that way, moments that once felt unclear or shadowed, now slowly revealing shape and color as time softens their edges. The telescope doesn't force the light to show itself. It waits patiently, letting warmth come forward when it's ready. Each of JWST's images is a portrait of unseen truth. The colors you see are not decoration, they're translations, a way to turn heat into harmony. When scientists assign blues and reds to certain wavelengths, they aren't painting, they're giving voice to silence. Imagine that for a moment a language where color speaks instead of words, where every hue is a note, and together they compose the quiet song of the cosmos. You can hear that music even now, not with ears, but with stillness. It's the same hum that lingers between breaths, the same vibration you feel when you stop searching and simply allow. To look at a JWST image is to look into the universe's hidden self, and perhaps to glimpse your own, the parts of you that glow softly beneath thought, beyond words, beyond the visible spectrum of who you believe you are. Let that idea rest with you. You are made of light, and some of that light has never been seen. It waits quietly radiant in its invisibility, trusting that one day it too will be noticed. The telescope continues to gaze, collecting colors the human eye cannot see, turning invisibility into beauty. Its mirrors glint faintly in the sun, a constellation of gold petals listening to warmth. And as you drift closer to sleep, you too can listen to the warmth within you, the quiet energy that hums even when everything else rests. The universe is painted in colors beyond sight. JWST is the brush, time is the canvas, and you, the dreamer, are part of the picture. Somewhere in that deep field of light, two galaxies are moving toward each other, not rushing, drifting. Their pace is so slow that 1 billion years will pass before they touch. And yet, in the language of the cosmos, this is a dance. Gravity is the music, a silent melody pulling partners closer. Each spiral sways, arms outstretched, their stars tracing wide arcs through the dark. It isn't collision they're heading toward, but transformation. When they meet, they will not shatter, they will merge. Their stars will weave into new patterns, their dust will form new suns, and from what seems like chaos, a fresh harmony will emerge. The James Webb Space Telescope can see these quiet dances. It watches the long approach, the soft bending of light as galaxies curve toward one another, the way their shapes elongate and intertwine. It sees the future written in the gentle pull of now. If you could watch this unfold, truly watch, you would see motion so patient it would appear still. You'd see entire galaxies move as gracefully as the tides of your breath. Inhale, galaxies draw together. Exhale, they begin to blend. The rhythm of space and the rhythm of you are not so different. When scientists study these galactic encounters, they find beauty in what others once called destruction. They see how gravity left to its quiet work turns disarray into design. The universe is not breaking itself apart, it is forever rearranging. Perhaps that's what growth really is, a slow, invisible dance toward balance. Stars may burst and fade, but the pattern continues, a waltz that never ends. Look inward for a moment. The atoms that make your body, your breath, your heartbeat, were once part of those same cosmic movements. Every breath you take is filled with the remnants of ancient stars that danced and merged and gave their dust to new worlds. You are part of that choreography. You are stardust, remembering the rhythm. If you were to stand beneath a dark sky tonight and let your thoughts grow still, you might sense it, that subtle motion everywhere, the gentle tug of gravity between all things, the same pull that keeps galaxies in one another's arms. The telescope watches and records, but it also reminds us to slow down. Nothing in the universe hurries. Even light, which moves faster than thought, has taken its time to reach us. Galaxies don't resist the pull, they surrender to it, and in doing so, they find grace. Their paths curve into spirals, their collisions become creation. You can do the same. Let your thoughts drift together until they merge, until what was separate begins to feel whole. Let your breath find the rhythm of the stars, slow, steady, kind, somewhere far beyond your sight. Two galaxies are still circling each other, their light faint but faithful. JWST captures that glow, and in those images, you can see yourself, a being in motion, yet perfectly at rest. For in the end, every dance in the cosmos, every slow unfolding, is just another way the universe learns to love its own balance. Between the stars there is space, vast, unlit, and almost infinite. It is not emptiness, though we call it that. It is pause. The universe is breath between notes. After the galaxies have spun, after light has crossed its endless distance, what remains is this gentle quiet, the dark fabric that holds everything in place. The James Webb Space Telescope P knows this quiet well. It lives inside it. Every observation begins there, every revelation is born from stillness. Before the light arrives, there is waiting, and in that waiting, peace. You might imagine this, stillness as a kind of cradle, not cold, but protective. It keeps the stars from crowding one another. It gives light the room it needs to travel. It gives creation its balance, the way silence gives music its meaning. If you look up on a clear night, you'll see points of brightness scattered in endless dark. But that darkness is not absence, it's invitation. It's the calm that lets brightness be seen at all. In your own life, you have these same spaces, the pauses between thoughts, the moments between breaths. You might overlook them, but they are where rest truly lives. They are your personal cosmos of calm. When JWST sends its images home, each one is framed by darkness. Scientists often focus on the colors, the spirals, the galaxies, but the blackness between them is what makes those forms possible. Without it, there would be no depth, no perspective, no sense of wonder. The universe is a master of balance. Every star, every pulse of radiation, is matched by silence vast enough to hold it. Even the loudest supernova fades into this same quiet, and the quiet receives it without judgment. As you breathe now, you can feel that same receiving silence inside you. There is a stillness beneath your heartbeat, a calm behind your thoughts. It doesn't ask for attention. It's simply there, holding everything together. That is the stillness between stars. The space where time feels wide and generous, where nothing has to happen, where everything can simply be. The telescope drifts in that sea, weightless, its gold mirrors open but unblinking. It listens to light as if it were listening to its own heartbeat, and between each pulse it hears the universe breathing. You can listen too, not with effort, just by noticing the quiet that's already present. In this moment, you are as still as a galaxy between revolutions, as peaceful as the dark that surrounds light. All creation returns to this calm eventually. Stars end, dust settles, light fades into memory, and what remains is the infinite, patient silence of space. It is not an ending, it is rest. It is the universe closing its eyes for a while, before dreaming again. So let yourself rest with it. The same stillness that carries G through its orbit carries you through this moment. You are floating now, not falling, not reaching, just existing in the soft gravity of quiet. Let the dark hold you as it holds the stars. Let the silence widen until it becomes comfort. Let yourself disappear into it, not as loss, but as belonging. And when you drift into sleep, know that the space between your dreams is made of the same still peace that lies between the stars. When light reaches the telescope, it does not arrive as pictures. It comes as pattern, tiny ripples stretched across the dark. To us, they are invisible. To JWST, they are letters in an ancient alphabet. Every color is a clue. Blue means energy young and bold. Red means distance and age. Between them lie the countless shades of becoming. The James Webb Space Telescope listens to those shades, the way a reader traces a finger across braille, feeling meaning through texture. It separates the rainbow into thin lines called spectra, each line a signature of what the light has touched. Hydrogen leaves one pattern, oxygen another. From these faint fingerprints, the telescope learns what a star is made of, how hot it burns, how long it has been alive. No rush, no noise. Just patient reading. Each observation takes hours, sometimes days. While the telescope waits, the universe continues its quiet conversations, sending one more wave of color toward gold. Down on Earth, scientists take that data and translate it into images. They do not paint for beauty alone. They translate for comprehension. Yet what emerges is beautiful anyway. Streams of indigo and amber, ribbons of rose and emerald, knowledge and art folding into one another. Think of it like listening to music you cannot hear. The notes become light, the melody becomes pattern, and the meaning arrives not in words but in calm recognition. Even here, in your own stillness, color speaks. Behind your eyelids, you might sense faint tones, warm red, cool violet, not as vision, but as mood. This is how the cosmos communicates, through feeling as much as through fact. JWST turns each color into a sentence. It reads about the birth of a star, the breath of a planet, the fading sigh of a dying sun. It gathers them into a long, unbroken poem written across 14 billion years. And while it reads, you can listen along, not to the data, but to the patience behind it. The same stillness that lets color separate in the telescope's prisms exists inside you. Each breath divides into its own spectrum. Inhale bringing brightness, exhale carrying rest. Both are needed to understand the whole. Color is not decoration. It is the universe remembering itself. Every hue is a moment of recognition. Every faint line a reminder that even distance can be deciphered when looked at with enough gentleness. So let the telescope keep reading. Let its golden mirrors turn light into language. And as you breathe, let color translate into calm. Each wavelength another thread in the quiet story of everything. Imagine a single note echoing through an empty hall. It drifts, expands, and fades. But if there are enough walls, shaped just right, the sound returns fuller, richer, clearer. That is how the sooty James Webb Space Telescope listens. Its great gold mirrors are not windows. They are ears. Each hexagon tuned to the faintest whispers of light. Together, they catch what the cosmos has been saying for billions of years. There are 18 of these mirrors, each one polished so finely that if you stretched it across a continent, no bump would rise higher than a single grain of dust. Every facet is curved to perfection, a small piece of a greater harmony. When light reaches JWST, it doesn't land on one mirror alone. It scatters gently across all of them. Each piece holds a fraction of the story, and only when they sing together does the full message emerge. That union doesn't happen by chance. In its early days, engineers spent weeks aligning each mirror by nanometers, movements so delicate that a breath could have undone them. But they did it in silence, command by command, until every reflection found its place. Now the telescope listens as one. When you see its honeycomb face, you might think of music frozen mid-note. Each panel a string on an invisible harp, vibrating with light instead of sound. And though we call it a machine, it behaves more like a meditation, a posture of stillness that lets meaning arrive. If you close your eyes, you can sense a mirror inside yourself. A part that doesn't chase thought, but waits for it to settle into reflection. That is your own alignment, your way of listening to what the world is quietly telling you. The telescope's mirrors never grow tired. They do not blink, do not rush to the next thing. They simply remain open, and in that openness, the universe reveals itself. Down on Earth, the images they send are decoded pixel by pixel, but the essence of what they capture cannot be measured in data alone. It's the serenity of a system built to wait. Even now, JWST's mirrors are catching light older than the Earth. Light that has never been heard before. Each photon arrives like a note, completing a symphony begun at the dawn of time. The sound is silent, but the meaning is clear. Patience and harmony create understanding. You are doing the same thing now. By resting, by breathing, you are letting your thoughts align. Each one, a small mirror, finding its focus. When they all settle, your inner image becomes clear. So, listen, not with your ears, but with your stillness. Somewhere, light is landing on gold, and somewhere in you, that same gold is reflecting it back. Every story begins with a few words. The universe began with a few elements. Hydrogen, the first and simplest. Helium, its quiet companion, and hidden deep within the fire of early stars, the slow promise of everything else to come. The James Webb Space Telescope looks for these whispers of origin. It listens to starlight and reads its fingerprints, those delicate patterns of color and shadow that reveal what the light has touched. A single spectral line, a thin thread across the darkness, can tell us what a star is made of, how old it is, and what new elements it has begun to forge. It's astonishing, really, that something so vast can be understood through something so delicate, that a universe born in silence can leave a signature gentle enough to fit inside a beam of light. JWST studies galaxies from a time when only hydrogen and helium existed. It sees the moment when stars began to fuse those simple gases into heavier atoms: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, the materials that would someday breathe, move, and wonder. You are breathing them now. The air that fills your lungs was once the inside of a star. The calcium in your bones, the iron in your blood, the carbon that forms your thoughts, all of it began in those early furnaces. It takes billions of years for a universe to learn how to make something as gentle as life. But it does so the same way it makes light, patiently, layer by layer, without ever rushing the process. JWST cannot touch these atoms, but it can see their traces. When its mirrors separate light into color, it finds tiny gaps, dark lines where certain wavelengths are missing. Those absences are clues, marks left behind by elements absorbing their share of starlight. To the telescope, those missing colors speak volumes. They say, "Thither this star holds oxygen, fi this one burns with carbon, fi this one, fivin this one, is giving birth to iron one." It's the universe writing letters to itself, and JWST reading them out loud for the first time. When the data returns to Earth, scientists don't see words. They see harmony, a pattern so consistent it becomes music. Every atom vibrates in rhythm, every element plays its note in the grand composition of being. And if you listen quietly inwardly, you can hear it too, the soft hum of continuity, the reminder that you are made of the same simple ingredients as the stars that fill the telescope's vision: hydrogen, helium, carbon, oxygen, names from a chart, but also verses in a poem the universe has been reciting since time began. You don't need to memorize the language. You already speak it, just by existing. So rest in that thought for a moment. You are starlight cooled into form, breathing the same atoms that once illuminated the first dawn. What the telescope sees is not distant. It's the reflection of what you've always been. The first elements were not the beginning of matter alone. They were the beginning of meaning. And that meaning has found its way here, into your lungs, your heartbeat, your quiet. There's a rhythm to light, a cadence that flows through every color the universe speaks. The James Webb Space Telescope does not simply measure that rhythm, it listens to it, translating the vibration of atoms into stories older than imagination. Every beam of light carries memory, and when JWST separates that light, it is reading, not words on paper, but lines written in radiance, a language that existed long before sound. We call it citroscopy, way, but you could also call it poetry. Each wavelength is a verse, each spectral line, a pause for breath. Together they form sentences that describe not just what is, but what once was, and what will be again. If you could see the data as it arrives, numbers, lines, shapes of energy, it might look abstract. But to those who understand it, it's as intimate as handwriting. Every star signs its name in light, and JWST reads those signatures like a reader tracing the ink of a love letter across time. There's tenderness in that process. The telescope never forces meaning. It waits, receives, and reflects. Just as a poet waits for words to surface, JWST waits for the universe to reveal itself. One photon, one stanza at a time. And when the image appears, it is not just information, it is feeling. Nebulae become metaphors for birth. Dust clouds become the commas between creation and renewal. Even silence finds form, the quiet between galaxies holding space for all that has yet to be said. We often think of science as exact, but here it becomes gentle, a practice of attention, a form of love. To look so deeply at the universe, to listen so patiently to its faintest signals, is to care for existence itself. JWST's mirrors do not judge what they see, they reflect. And through them we are reminded to do the same, to look without demand, to observe without haste. You can do that now. Close your eyes and imagine light as ink, and the dark around you as the page. Each breath you take writes a new line. There is no need to rush to the end of the poem. It is endless, and that is what makes it beautiful. To read Starlight is to remember that the universe is both scientist and poet, observer and dreamer. It speaks in data, but also in grace. You are part of that expression. Your heartbeat, slow and steady, is its own verse, a repetition of the same pulse that moves galaxies and stars. So let the poem continue. Let JWST keep turning its golden pages in space, and let yourself rest in the assurance that the universe, in all its vastness, is not something separate from you. It is a story you are still writing every time you breathe in its light. Even the telescope must rest, not in sleep, but in silence. After each observation, it pauses, holding light gently in memory while its instruments cool again to stillness. This is the space between discoveries, the quiet that allows wonder to settle. Up there at the far edge of sunlight, the James Webb Space Telescope glides through shadow and warmth. It collects light, translates it, and then simply waits. The data it has gathered travels slowly back to Earth, crossing 1,000,000 miles of calm. For those who built it, that waiting is a kind of meditation, a deep inhale before another breath of revelation. In that pause, nothing happens, and yet everything does. The telescope remains poised, its golden petals unmoving, its sensors listening not for sound, but for stillness itself. You could think of it as the heartbeat of discovery, a beat of silence between notes of knowledge, a moment when the universe looks back. Even here, in your own life, the quiet between moments is where understanding lives. You read, you learn, you feel, and then you rest, letting meaning sink in beneath thought. Without that pause, there is no comprehension, only noise. The telescope has taught us this: patience reveals more than urgency ever could. When JWST stops collecting, when its mirrors hold still, they do not stop learning, they allow what has been learned to take shape. It's the same with you. You are not falling behind when you rest. You are integrating. You are becoming whole again. Imagine that stillness now. The telescope alone but never lonely, floating through invisible gravity, wrapped in perfect silence. Its orbit is steady, its purpose clear, but its method is surrender. It doesn't reach for light. It allows light to come to it. You can do the same. You can let calm find you, the way starlight finds gold. No effort, no strain, just quiet arrival. For all the brilliance of its images, the telescope's greatest gift may be this lesson, that the universe does not rush. It unfolds, gently, trusting that each revelation will arrive when it's time. Down below, scientists will soon awaken to new data, new colors, new wonders to decode. But for now, in this exact moment, the telescope drifts, serene and listening. Let yourself drift with it, between thoughts, between breaths, between worlds. Let the pause itself become the discovery, because in the end, the quiet between discoveries is not empty. It is where light turns into meaning, and meaning turns into peace. Not every world shines. Some hide in the glow of their stars, circling quietly, invisible to the eye. They are too small, too dim, too far. Yet they are there, entire planets moving through the dark, keeping their own steady rhythm as their suns burn and fade. The James Webb Space Telescope was built for such secrets. It does not need to see a planet to know it exists. It listens for the smallest dimming of starlight, the subtle whisper of a world passing in front of its sun. Imagine a candle burning in the distance. Now imagine a moth drifting between you and its flame. For a moment, the light softens, just barely. You wouldn't notice unless you were very still, unless you were paying attention to the smallest change. That is how JWST finds the unseen. It watches the light of distant stars with the patience of something that has forgotten time. When a planet crosses its star, the brightness dips ever so slightly, a tiny heartbeat in the curve of radiance. From it, astronomers can tell the planet's size, its orbit, and sometimes even what its atmosphere might contain, all from a fraction of starlight, a breath of absence. a shadow that lasts only hours in a journey that may take years. It is the gentlest kind of discovery, not chasing, not forcing, but noticing. The way you might notice the subtle rhythm of your own breathing after a long, quiet day. There are thousands of these distant worlds, each orbiting a sun that looks to us like a single point of light. Some circle red dwarfs that flare and fade like embers, others drift through golden systems, much like our own. A few might even carry air and water, ingredients of the same life we know here. JWST studies them, not with certainty, but with care. It collects faint traces of color as starlight filters through alien skies. It looks for fingerprints of gases, hydrogen, carbon dioxide, methane, soft indicators of the chemistry of life. It's a quiet kind of hope, the kind that doesn't shout its name. Each world it glimpses is both familiar and foreign, a reflection of what might be and a reminder of how rare it is to be known. You can close your eyes and picture one now, a planet circling its star like a thought circling a dream. You cannot see it, but you can feel it, its gravity, its movement, its quiet loyalty to light. Somewhere that world turns through its own night, its horizon bathed in a color no human has ever seen. Perhaps winds sweep its oceans, perhaps its sky holds clouds of crystal or flame. Perhaps, if you could stand there, you'd find its silence strangely familiar, the same stillness that lives between your heartbeats now. The telescope continues to listen. It measures, records, waits. The worlds it finds will never know they were seen. They will continue their orbit, untouched, perfect in their anonymity. But through JWST, we know they exist, and that knowing connects us, not just to them, but to the act of noticing itself. To find what cannot be seen is to believe that mystery can be gentle. That wonder doesn't need to dazzle to be real. That even silence can reveal a world, if you are quiet enough to hear it. When light passes through air, it changes. Even here on Earth, sunlight turns golden at dawn, rose-colored at dusk, muted and blue when clouds wander across the sky. Every breath of atmosphere alters the light that touches it. So too with other worlds. The James Webb Space Telescope cannot see those distant skies directly, but it can feel them, the way light bends, fades, or shifts as it travels through a planet's thin shell of air. When a planet crosses in front of its star, some of that starlight filters through its atmosphere before reaching JWST. Inside that faint filter, hidden among wavelengths thinner than thought, are clues, signatures of gases, patterns of chemistry, the quiet fingerprints of existence. The telescope studies those patterns like a patient listener, decoding the rhythm of a whisper in another room. From them, it can tell whether a planet's air holds water vapor or carbon dioxide or clouds made of silicate crystal, dust that glitters as it falls. To most instruments, this light would be too faint, its message too subtle. But JWST was built for delicacy. Its sensors are so sensitive that they can read the breath of a world 100 light-years away. Imagine that, a single molecule of water casting the tiniest shadow across a beam of starlight, and a telescope 1,000,000 miles from Earth noticing the difference. That is the level of gentleness at which discovery happens now. No explosions, no thunder of rockets. Only the still precision of attention. It's almost like empathy, seeing without intrusion, knowing without touching. JWST listens, and in the faint modulation of light, it senses the weather of worlds we'll never walk upon. Some of those worlds are hot, their air heavy with metal vapor and dust storms the color of fire. Others are cold and calm, their skies thick with methane, their clouds soft and blue. Each atmosphere is a personality, a mood the telescope learns to recognize by tone. Down here, scientists turn those signals into lines on a graph. But what they're really tracing is the heartbeat of an unseen world. And just as they interpret distant skies, you can sense the atmosphere around you now. The way the air feels cooler near your skin, the way each breath arrives gentle and leaves slower than before. The same physics governs both, the exchange between light and air, warmth and calm. Every time JWST studies a planet, it reminds us that air, though invisible, is full of life. It carries the scent of rain, the shimmer of dawn, the vibration of every living sound. On other worlds, it may carry silence alone, but even that, silence, is sacred. Perhaps one of those skies holds clouds made of water, and beneath them, oceans, and beneath those oceans, questions we are not yet ready to answer. JWST will keep listening anyway, patient and humble, knowing that some mysteries prefer to remain half-seen. The telescope teaches that seeing is not the only form of knowing. Sometimes, to sense what is real, you must look into the dark and let light tell its story in its own time. So breathe slowly. Let the air around you whisper its own quiet secrets. You too are an atmosphere through which light must pass. And every thought, every dream, changes that light just a little before it continues on its way. Every time the telescope studies a planet, it asks a question older than humanity itself: are we alone? But the Saudi James Webb Space Telescope does not ask with urgency. It asks the way one might ask the wind where it has been, knowing the answer will come as feeling, not as word. Life, if it exists elsewhere, does not shout. It whispers. In the faint composition of a planet's air, in the rhythm of heat and shadow, in the gentle consistency of a climate that breathes. JWST searches for those whispers, tiny imbalances in chemistry, a hint of oxygen here, a trace of methane there, patterns that, when read together, might suggest the quiet machinery of something alive. It doesn't expect to find cities or signals. It looks instead for harmony, for gases that replenish one another in a delicate dance, because that's what life is, a balance that maintains itself against all odds. Down on Earth, that same balance plays out in every inhale and exhale. You breathe in what the trees release. They take what you give back. Life, even across species, is a conversation. Perhaps it is the same somewhere far away, a conversation happening under a different sky between forms we can only imagine. When JWST examines a distant world, it does not impose meaning. It observes the starlight passing through that planet's air, watching how the light bends, how certain colors disappear, how others strengthen. In those subtle differences, scientists see potential, not proof, but possibility. It's a soft kind of hope, one that doesn't demand an answer to be at peace. To know that such worlds exist, to sense that they might carry their own gentle pulse, is comfort enough. If you close your eyes, you might picture one of those planets now, a blue-green sphere circling a warm, steady sun. Clouds drift across its surface. Winds hum through its valleys. Perhaps something small moves among the shadows, not aware it is being seen, not needing to be. The telescope will never visit it. It will never touch its oceans or feel its air. It will only listen, and that, in its way, is love. A love without possession, a curiosity without grasping. Here on Earth, we share that same instinct. When you look at the sky, you are not trying to claim it. You are acknowledging its presence, and in doing so, you feel your own. JWST's search for life is not an attempt to end mystery, but to deepen it, to remind us that existence may be broader, more tender, than we can yet understand. If the telescope ever finds that unmistakable pattern, a world whose air sings with life's familiar ratios, the universe will not change. It will only become more known and somehow more sacred. But even if it never does, the searching itself is the point. The listening, the patience, the willingness to believe that there is something worth hearing. That is the act that connects us to the stars. So as you rest now, imagine JWST drifting through its endless night, ears of gold turned toward possibility, hearing, perhaps, the faintest breath of something distant, not calling for us, just existing peacefully, as we do here. There is no loneliness in that vastness, only quiet companionship. Each world, each speck of light, each living thing, a verse in the same poem, spoken softly, shared across eternity. Distance has always been the universe's way of loving gently. Nothing in creation crowds too close. Every planet, every star, every drifting cloud of dust moves in quiet respect for the space around it. It is easy to think of distance as loneliness, but the cosmos teaches otherwise. The spaces between things are what make their light possible. Without the dark, no star could shine. Without silence, no song could be heard. The James Webb Space Telescope lives within that lesson. 1,000,000 miles from Earth, it floats between warmth and shadow, neither falling toward the sun nor away from it, balanced perfectly in its solitude. From that gentle distance, it sees everything more clearly. The glow of galaxies, the curve of planets, the faint signatures of atmospheres, all visible only because it stands apart. If it were closer to the world that built it, Earth's own heat would drown the faint signals of the stars. Only in stillness, only in silence, only in separation can it truly see. There's a kind of wisdom in that. To understand what we love, sometimes we must step back just enough to see it whole. The telescope does this for the universe. You can do it for your own life. Think of someone or something you love deeply. You do not need to hold it constantly to feel its presence. You can let it breathe, let it exist in its own orbit, and the connection remains. That's how stars relate to their planets, how galaxies hold one another in gravity's gentle pull. JWST's distance is not exile, it's perspective, and from that perspective comes beauty. A beauty fragile, not because it's weak, but because it depends on balance. Light takes time to travel. When you look at a star, you see it as it once was. You are in every glance, a witness to memory. Even the light of our own sun takes minutes to arrive. We live perpetually in the past, and yet it feels like now. That is the miracle of distance. It stretches time just enough to make wonder visible. The telescope captures this stretched light, the way a harp string holds a note. It sees not a single moment, but a collection of them layered together, folded through years and light years, until what reaches its mirrors is a melody of time itself. And while JWST floats there, you, too, are part of this same composition. Every heartbeat sends ripples into the air. Every thought radiates softly, traveling outward, dissolving gently into the space around you. You are closer to the stars than you realize. Your atoms once belonged to them. Your light will return to them. Between you and everything else lies not emptiness, but a fragile beauty of space, a kindness made of distance. Feel the space between your breaths, the calm pause that lets the next inhale arrive. That small distance is what gives rhythm to life. The telescope remains silent, still turning in its orbit, still gathering the faint echoes of creation. Its solitude is not absence, it is communion. And you, resting here, are part of the same communion, held balanced, separate enough to see, close enough to belong. This is what the stars have always known, that beauty lives in the space between, not too near, not too far, just enough for light to travel, for love to arrive, for awe to remain. Somewhere out there, beneath a sun that is not ours, a world turns through its quiet morning. The light is softer, redder, older. Its clouds drift lazily across skies we have never seen, and its oceans, if it has them, shimmer in colors that do not exist in any language we speak. The James Webb Space Telescope cannot touch that world, but it can dream of it through light. Each faint photon, each tiny variation in color, tells a story of its air, its warmth, its hidden seasons. JWST reads those signals like a lullaby, sent across eternity, notes written in brightness, melody carried on patience. When scientists see its data, they translate that distant world into numbers and graphs. But if you listen between those numbers, you can almost hear it breathing. A rhythm of orbit and rotation, a steady pulse that mirrors your own. Perhaps that world has mountains, like glass, or forests that bloom beneath pale suns. Perhaps its nights are gentle, its dawns long and slow. Perhaps something stirs there, not like us, but alive all the same, following its own simple instincts to reach toward light. The telescope cannot know. It can only gaze and wonder, and in that wondering, there is beauty enough. You can join it now, in the quiet space between thought and dream. Let your imagination become its mirror. Let your breath match its steady drift. Picture yourself floating beside it, weightless, golden, calm. Below, countless suns scatter across infinity, each surrounded by their own tiny companions. You drift past them one by one, worlds of every hue and shape, each turning slowly in their patient solitude. Some shine in silver twilight, some are wrapped in storms of sapphire or flame, some are barely visible, their orbits outlined only by the dim glow of reflected light. And yet, each one feels peaceful, each one at ease in its place. There is no rush in the cosmos, no mistake in its spacing. Everything belongs exactly where it is. You too belong here, floating beside other suns, resting in the same vast rhythm that moves galaxies. Your pulse aligns with their revolutions. Your breath becomes the tide that connects every shore of every world. The telescope continues its slow rotation, its golden petals tilted like a flower facing the invisible. It gathers more light, more memory, more evidence that wonder has no end. And while it works, you rest. Your mind drifts beyond names and boundaries, past what you know and what you need to know. You are the witness now, and also the light being witnessed. If sleep finds you here, let it. You will not be leaving the story, you will only be entering it more deeply. For in dream you can travel farther than light itself, to stand beneath skies you have never seen, to walk the edges of oceans older than time, to listen to winds whispering in colors. The stars above will keep their places. The telescope will keep its watch, and you, beside them, will keep breathing softly, a small, steady echo of the universe at rest. The distance between you and those suns is measured not in miles, but in wonder, and wonder, like light, travels forever. So drift now. Let your thoughts fade into that same gentle orbit. Let every heartbeat become a sunrise on another world. Let every breath carry the warmth of unseen skies. Dream beside other suns. You are safe here. You are infinite here. You are home. We live inside a current. It moves through us as unseen as air, as constant as light. We call it twin time, but unlike rivers or tides, this one does not announce its motion. It drifts quietly through every cell, every heartbeat, every unfolding of a leaf or turning of a planet. The James Webb Space Telescope floats in that same current. Its orbit is a slow circle drawn by gravity's hand. Its gaze a long reach backward into moments long past. Yet to JWST, the past and the present are one continuous thread, light still arriving from stars that burned long before Earth was born. We cannot feel that flow directly. To us, the present feels still. Seconds pass in silence, and yet entire galaxies move in that silence, their arms curling, their stars aging, their light stretching through distance like silk. If you listen quietly enough, you might sense it, a subtle hum, a steady movement beneath stillness. Not sound, but rhythm. The rhythm of becoming. You have felt it before, when you watch sunlight shift across the floor, or clouds travel without hurry across the horizon. Nothing seems to happen, and yet everything changes. This is time's gentlest form, a reminder that progress does not always require motion you can see. JWST's work is to turn that flow visible. Every image it sends back is a fragment of time, a fossil of light frozen mid-journey. To look at one of those images is to hold billions of years in a single glance. The telescope doesn't just observe distance, it listens to duration. It shows us that the universe doesn't move from past to future, as if walking a line. It unfolds in layers like ripples spreading outward from a stone you never saw thrown. The present moment, this moment, is one of those ripples. It feels small, but it touches everything. The air you breathe now once flowed through mountains, through trees, through lives that came before you. And the breath you exhale will one day join the wind that brushes the wings of someone yet to be born. That is the flow you cannot feel. Time, moving quietly through every connection. JWST helps us see that we are never apart from what was or what will be. When it looks at a galaxy 10 billion light-years away, it is not seeing something gone. It is meeting it halfway. Light still travels toward us. We are part of its journey. So too in your life. What you call the past is still on its way to you, and what you call the future has already begun. You are not outside time, you are its shape, its quiet continuation. You can rest inside that truth. There is no rush to arrive anywhere. The current is already carrying you forward, as gently as a river carries leaves. You do not need to paddle, you only need to float. Time will move whether you notice or not, so notice, softly. Feel it in the way your breath deepens, in the way your body releases the last of its tension. Each second expands, not as something lost, but as something made wider. In the silence between heartbeats, time is still flowing. It never stops, it never demands. It only invites you to drift with it. And as you do, remember that somewhere far away, JWST floats in that same eternal current, motionless in its grace, yet sailing across billions of years with every photon it receives. You and it are travelers together, both carried by a flow so gentle, you can only feel it when you finally grow still. When you look at a clock, you see numbers, but time itself has no numbers. It moves too smoothly for that, like light through glass, like water through still air. We divide it into seconds and years, but the universe knows none of those words. To the cosmos, a second and a century are the same kind of moment, ripples in one continuous sea. The The James Webb Space Telescope sees this truth more clearly than we can. Its eyes gather light that left its stars billions of years ago. To us, that feels like ancient history, but to the light itself, there has been no delay, no waiting, no gap between then and now. Photons do not experience time. When they finally touch JWST's mirrors, they have arrived at the first moment they ever knew. It's strange to think that a single instant here in this room could hold the memory of galaxies as they once were, young, uncertain, learning how to shine. And yet that's what every image from JWST reveals. That time is not something moving past us, but something expanding around us. Our lives move in smaller scales, hours, days, years, but we are built from matter that has already known eternity. The atoms in your body have burned in stars, rested in comets, slept inside ancient mountains. And now, for a brief while, they form Funyusun. When you breathe, you borrow from the air that cooled when Earth was young. When you blink, you close your eyes for less than a second. But in that second, the universe continues its slow rotation through infinity. There is comfort in that thought. You are not falling behind anything. You are perfectly synchronized with all that is. Every moment you live is both fleeting and endless. JWST's observations remind us of this balance. It watches the faintest glows from galaxies so far away that their light began before our sun was born. Yet when that light arrives, it is still fresh, as if those stars were kindling now, as if creation never paused. And maybe it never has. Maybe every instant, every inhale, every heartbeat is another spark of the same flame that first lit the cosmos. When you slow down enough to notice, time begins to soften. The boundaries between past and future blur, and what remains is the feeling of always. You begin to sense what the telescope sees, that all moments are present, layered upon one another, like transparent waves moving through one eternal ocean. If you've ever stood at the shore and watched the tide, you felt this. Each wave arrives, recedes, and seems to end, but the water remains forever in motion, forever returning. The universe moves like that, and you, resting now, move with it. The telescope floats through a million small shifts, tiny nudges to stay in balance, and in that subtle motion, it experiences time as we might experience breath, not as passing, but as flow. The same is true for you. Each breath you take is a small rotation of your own orbit. Each heartbeat, a pulse of eternity made personal. Seconds stretch into years, years dissolve into seconds. There is no difference except perspective. So let time stretch around you. Let it lose its edges. There is no deadline, no clock counting down in the dark. There is only this unfolding, slow, infinite, and kind. And as you breathe, you can feel what JWST feels. That subtle hum beneath all things. The constant movement that never rushes. You are drifting with it, moment and eon together, carried on the same invisible current of forever. Every second that passes is written in light. Even here, in the quiet of your room, a billion invisible waves move through you. Light from the sun reflected by the moon, light from distant stars, light too faint for eyes, but strong enough to keep time. Light is the universe's oldest memory and its most patient messenger. It moves at a pace that never falters. No matter where it travels, its rhythm is constant. The gentle metronome of creation. The James Webb Space Telescope measures time by that rhythm. It does not count seconds or hours. It counts wavelengths, each one stretched or compressed by motion, each one carrying the age of its journey. When light leaves a galaxy, it begins as blue, young, strong, vibrant. As it travels through the expanding universe, it stretches, slows, softens, turning red with age. By the time it reaches JWST, it glows in the deep warmth of infrared, a color our eyes cannot see, but which the telescope feels like a pulse against gold. That stretch of light, that reddening, is how astronomers measure time itself. It is the universe's heartbeat, faint but steady, counted not in numbers but in wavelengths. Every red photon that lands on JWST's mirrors is a note from the past, singing the song of distance and duration. The telescope reads those notes and learns how long that light has been traveling, how far space has stretched since it left its source. You might imagine the telescope as a clock, but its hands move through eternity. Each new observation rewinds the cosmic watch. turning back billions of years, until we glimpse the dawn of time itself. The first fire that burned, the first glow that dared to shine in darkness. Light is a clock made of fire, and every star that ever lived is a tick in that great celestial rhythm. But this is not a clock that measures endings. It does not hurry toward midnight. It only expands, marking every moment with the same steady grace. You can feel that rhythm within you too, your heartbeat, your breathing, the slow unfolding of your thoughts. Each is a smaller echo of that cosmic pulse. You are, in every sense, a continuation of that light. When you walk beneath the sun, the warmth on your skin is time arriving. When you gaze at the night sky, you are watching seconds that began before your birth finally finish their journey. Every photon that touches you has been traveling your way for eons. And you, in return, emit your own light, not in brightness, but in warmth, in kindness, in presence. You too are a small clock made of fire, counting the moments, not by loss, but by giving. JWST floats in darkness, its mirrors turned to gather these glowing seconds. Each photon it receives is both past and present, reminding us that time and light are not separate things. They are one. And as you rest here, you are part of that same unfolding. The seconds passing in your body are made of the same fire that once lived in the stars. There is no distance between their rhythm and yours. When you breathe in, you gather light. When you breathe out, you return it. That exchange is eternity disguised as life. So rest in it. Let time slow until it becomes warmth, and warmth fade until it becomes peace. You are inside the clock, and the clock is inside you. You are its glow, its quiet motion, its endless now. Everything that has ever happened, and everything that ever will, is still happening somewhere in the vastness. Time is not a line but a sea, and every wave is moving at once. You are floating on one of those waves now, a crest called this moment. It may seem small, but it touches everything. The James Webb Space Telescope looks across billions of years, and yet all that ancient light arrives seed-no. The past becomes present each time it reaches a mirror of gold. Every discovery, every image, is a reunion between what was and what is. When you take a breath, you are exchanging air that has cycled through forests, through oceans, through generations of living things. Your present is woven from every past that ever existed, and as you breathe out, you are giving something forward, a contribution to moments yet to come. The same molecules will travel the world cross continents, find their way into future lungs, future winds, future quiet nights, just like this one. All of existence is shared. There is no isolated now. There is only this continuing flow of being. JWSTs this in the language of light. Each photon it catches began its journey billions of years ago, and yet it finishes that journey in the same instant you are living. It is all one now, stretched across the expanse of space, stitched together by attention. When you look at one of the telescope's deep images, those galaxies scattered like seeds across velvet darkness, you are not looking into the past. You are looking into an ongoing conversation. The universe is still speaking, and you are still listening. Every spark of starlight, every ripple of gravity, every soft exhale of life on Earth, they are all simultaneous verses in the same endless poem. In this shared now, there is no separation between observer and observed, between telescope and sky, between you and what you love. JWST is out there, its mirrors reflecting the faint glow of distant dawns. You are here, your eyes reflecting the faint glow of the device you hold, or the dim light of your room, or the last trace of twilight through the window. Both reflections are part of the same act, light meeting awareness. You and the telescope are doing the same work, in different languages. Both of you are gathering light and turning it into meaning. Both of you are witnesses to how beautiful it is that anything exists at all. There is no need to reach forward or look back. The entire history of everything is folded into this present moment. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right where time meets itself, the still point where motion and rest become one. Let that realization soften you. Feel the edges of yourself dissolve a little, as if the air and your skin are made of the same gentle substance. You do not have to hold yourself separate from what surrounds you. You belong to this moment as much as the stars belong to the sky. The telescope will keep turning, the galaxies will keep drifting, and you, here, now, are sharing their motion in perfect harmony. There is only this now, only this single, infinite breath that moves through the universe, through the telescope, through you. And as you exhale, you complete the circle, the quiet exchange between human and cosmos, between light and witness, between all beginnings and this exact, peaceful, endless moment. Between 1 second and the next, there is a pause so small we rarely notice it, but if you listen carefully, you can feel it. A moment without measure, a breath of silence that exists between all beginnings and endings. That is where stillness lives. The James Webb Space Telescope has found its own kind of stillness. It drifts in perfect balance, neither pulled too strongly toward the sun nor away from it. Suspended in an invisible cradle of gravity, it glides through timelessness. Every observation begins with that same pause, a steadying, a breath before light arrives. Only then does the mirror open its golden eye and begin to receive. In that pause, the telescope is not waiting, it is being. You can feel that same space in yourself, between your inhales and exhales. There is a moment where breath becomes neither in nor out, a soft equilibrium. It lasts less than a heartbeat, yet within it is all the calm you have ever needed. The universe is full of such pauses, between pulses of light, between orbits, between stars. Creation itself moves through these still intervals, resting between each act of expansion. Stillness is not the absence of motion, it is the harmony beneath it. It's the reason galaxies can spin without colliding, why time can flow without breaking, why your thoughts can drift without losing who you are. JWST's stillness allows it to see more clearly. Its instruments must remain perfectly stable, cool and steady to detect the faintest signals. Even the slightest tremor would blur what it perceives, so it rests, utterly motionless, listening to the quiet frequencies of creation. In that silence, it becomes one with what it observes. You can do the same. Let yourself sink beneath the sound of your thoughts. Imagine floating in a space so vast that even time forgets to move. There, you are not separate from anything. You are simply awareness, the still mirror where light softly lands. If a thought appears, let it drift by like starlight passing through distance. You don't have to follow it. You are the space it moves through. This is the stillness between moments, not a stop, but a return. A homecoming to what has always been constant beneath change. The telescope will soon wake from its quiet equilibrium to gather new light, new stories. But it will do so gently, without urgency. Its calm will remain, anchored in that balance point between pull and release. In the same way, you can rise from rest when it's time, but the calm you find here will stay with you. It will linger behind your movements, softening the edges of the day. For now, there is nowhere else to be. Only this breath, and the next. Only this heart, beating in time with the quiet pulse of galaxies. Only this moment, and the stillness that holds it. If sleep comes, let it. If not, simply rest here. You are not required to do anything more than exist. The stars are moving, the telescope is dreaming, and you are part of that same patient rhythm. A rhythm so vast it no longer needs to measure time. Here, in the stillness between moments, everything is enough. Everything is whole. Everything is whole. Everything simply fine. When you look at the night sky, you are not just seeing outward. You are also seeing inward, into memory, into longing, into the part of you that still remembers being made of light. The James Webb Space Telescope was built to look farther than we ever have before, but in its own way, it is also looking homeward. Each of its golden mirrors reflects the universe, but they also reflect us, our hands, our hopes, the questions that built it, and the quiet courage of patience that sent it away. In the beginning, it was not yet a telescope. It was pieces, parts of gold and glass and intention, spread across laboratories and dreams. Only when those pieces came together, aligned perfectly in the dark, did it become something whole, something capable of seeing. You are not so different. Inside you, too, are countless fragments, memories, fears, moments of wonder, all waiting to align. When they do, when you pause long enough to let them settle, you see clearly again. JWST's mirrors face outward, but their perfection comes from symmetry within. Each panel reflects not only the stars, but the other panels, a network of light looking at itself. Through that harmony, clarity appears. This is how understanding works. It begins with reflection. Perhaps that is why we find the telescope so moving, because it behaves like the best part of us. It listens before speaking. It waits before knowing. It looks without judging. When it captures an image, it doesn't add to the light, it simply receives what was already there. And in that quiet reception, truth unfolds. You can try this now without mirrors, without telescopes, just with awareness. Close your eyes. Let your mind become still, as if it were a calm sea at night. In that still water, reflections appear. They are not forced. They simply show themselves. Perhaps you see a memory. Perhaps only darkness. Either is fine. Both are light in different forms. The telescope never fears the dark. It knows darkness is what allows the stars to be seen. In the same way, your quiet moments, the ones that feel empty or uncertain, are simply the space where meaning can appear. We often search the sky for signs of life, for proof that we are not alone. But the truth is, we already share the same material, the same glow that once burned in the first stars. When JWST looks out into space, it is seeing matter that became us, and when we look back at its images, we are witnessing our own reflection. You and the telescope are part of the same act of seeing. Two mirrors facing one another, infinite light between them. There's peace in that thought. You do not need to look far to find the universe. You only need to notice that it is already within you, in the rhythm of your breathing, the pulse of your blood, the quiet warmth behind your thoughts. So tonight, as you rest, let the stars become your reflection. You are simply seeing yourself from a greater distance. Every mirror, no matter where it floats, carries home within its reflection. When the puny James Webb Space Telescope opens its golden eye, it does not only see outward. In every image of distant galaxies, there is a quiet trace of the world that built it, the planet of water and wind that once sent it away. Light from those galaxies travels for billions of years to reach JWST's mirrors, but as soon as it touches gold, that ancient journey becomes part of us again. Every reflection is a return. Even light that has traveled across the universe still ends in someone's gaze. Someone looking upward, feeling small and safe at the same time. That, too, is home. If you could watch the telescope at work, you'd see it tilting its mirrors, aligning to catch a single distant spark. You'd see the sunlight brushing its golden surface, and for a brief moment, that reflected glow would face Earth. A quiet signal, I am still connected. You might imagine those mirrors like open hands, catching the universe's gifts, then offering them back. That cycle, receive, reflect, return, is the same rhythm that guides your own life. When you listen, you are reflecting. When you speak gently, you are returning what you've gathered. Every kindness, every thought is a small mirror turned outward that eventually brings light home. The telescope's engineers once described its mirrors as alive. They move constantly, adjusting in infinitesimal steps, finding perfect focus through patience alone. Their gold surface is so thin that a single fingerprint could damage it, and yet it reflects galaxies. Such fragility, such precision, a balance of strength and care. You, too, are made of that balance. Softness and endurance in equal measure. You catch light, you hold it, you release it. You are, in your own quiet way, a mirror reflecting life's larger beauty. There's a peaceful humility in knowing this. You don't have to chase light. It will find you. You don't have to hold everything you see. What matters will return when it's ready. The act of reflecting is enough. JWS teaches us that reflection doesn't mean imitation. Its mirrors do not change the light. They allow it to be itself. True reflection is presence, honoring what is without distortion. Try that now, in thought. Whatever feeling or memory passes through you, see it as light glancing off gold. You do not need to cling to it. You only need to let it move through you softly, truthfully, on its way back to where it belongs. And where it belongs is home. Not a place, but a state of being. That calm awareness beneath everything else. The quiet knowing that you are part of something kind. JWST's mirrors are not flawless because they never err. They are flawless because they align again and again to the source they serve. Their beauty lies in their return. So let this moment be a mirror. Let every breath you take bring you closer to the feeling of home that has always been within you. You do not need to travel light years. You do not need to reach outward to belong. Just as every beam of light ends in reflection, every journey ends in presence. And when you open your eyes, whether to a star, a screen, or the dark of your room, You are seeing what the telescope sees. Not distance, but connection. Every mirror reflects home. Every act of seeing is a way of remembering that you have never truly left. Inside every person, beneath thoughts, feelings, and movement, there is a place that only watches. It does not speak, does not argue, does not change. It simply observes, like a mirror waiting for light. The James Webb Space Telescope is a machine built in the likeness of that awareness. It does not interfere with what it sees. It does not rush to explain. It watches in silence, and through that silence, truth appears. Your own awareness works the same way. You are not your thoughts, any more than the telescope is the stars. You are the stillness that notices them. You are the quiet observer within. Each thought that arises, a memory, a worry, a hope, is just a photon of the mind. It travels across your inner sky, casts a flicker of color, and then moves on. You do not need to chase it. You only need to allow it to arrive and depart. JWST's mirrors do not cling to the light they receive. They let it touch, reflect, and pass through. In doing so, they remain clean, clear, and ready for what comes next. You can do the same with thought. When a feeling arises, let it come, let it leave. No resistance, no grasping. The quiet observer in you is never disturbed. It has no edges, no boundaries. It is space itself. The telescope is cooled to a temperature near absolute zero, so that its own heat does not cloud its vision. It becomes nearly invisible to itself, allowing faint light to reach it unaltered. In the same way, when your mind grows cool and calm, it sees clearly, not because it forces clarity, but because it no longer adds noise. You don't need to silence your thoughts. You only need to stop identifying with them. They can drift like cosmic dust, and you can remain like the golden mirror, unmoved, reflective, open. In this quiet, everything begins to soften. The need to fix, to define, to hurry. All of it fades into the same still background. What remains is awareness, pure and simple. Awareness does not age. It has no beginning, no end. It is the same presence that watched your first sunrise, the same one watching now, and perhaps the same presence that looks out through JWST's gaze. The universe becoming aware of itself through you. Sometimes we confuse awareness with thought, believing the voice in the mind is who we are. But awareness is quieter than voice. It is the space in which all voices echo. It's not the comet or the star. It's the darkness that holds them. That darkness is not absence. It is peace. It is where everything can exist without pressure. Just as the telescope finds its clearest view in the deepest dark, you find your clearest self in stillness. Try to rest there now. Let your breath be the orbit. Let your awareness be the telescope. Each inhale gathers light. Each exhale releases it. The space between, that's where truth waits. You don't need to do anything more. Awareness is effortless. It has been with you since the beginning, watching kindly, patiently, through every change. JWST turns its mirrors toward the unknown and finds beauty in everything it meets. You can turn your awareness inward and find the same. The quiet observer within never leaves. It is your constant horizon. It sees, it reflects, it rests. Light never stands still, but the mirror that receives it does. This is the balance the James Webb Space Telescope has perfected: motion and stillness, together in a single dance. Its golden face remains unmoving, balanced on the quiet edge of gravity, while all around it, planets turn, stars pulse, and galaxies drift. The light that reaches its mirrors is always in motion, but the mirror does not chase it. It simply receives, reflects, and lets it go. That is how awareness works inside you. Your thoughts are light. They arrive, they shimmer for a moment, and then they move on. You do not have to follow them. You only have to notice them, as you would notice starlight brushing your face at night. Too often, we forget this. We think our thoughts are who we are, and so we try to control them, to push them away, to make them stop. But thoughts are meant to move. They are not stones to be held, but waves to be observed. Still light, moving thoughts. You are the mirror, the calm behind the movement, the steady presence that does not fade when the mind flickers. When JWST looks into space, its mirrors adjust by the tiniest amount, a fraction of a hair's width, to stay perfectly aligned. It doesn't resist the drift, it corrects gently, following balance rather than control. You can do the same. When thoughts begin to swirl, you don't need to force them away. You can just tilt slightly. back toward breath, toward calm, toward the simple act of noticing. In time, they will pass, and you will remain. Imagine for a moment that your awareness is a great, still sea. On the surface, waves rise and fall, memories, ideas, sensations. Each sparkles for a moment, then dissolves back into depth. Beneath them, the sea is unchanged. That depth is who you truly are. The telescope works the same way. It gathers waves, not of water, but of light. Each wave carries a message, and when it meets gold, it's translated into understanding. But the mirror itself is never altered by what it reflects. Awareness is the same. You can witness joy without clinging, pain without drowning, change without fear. Your peace is not the absence of movement, but the quiet trust that movement cannot disturb what is infinite. If you listen now, you can feel that stillness under your thoughts, the faint hum behind the stream of words, the silent room beneath your breathing. That is the awareness that never moves. It's the same awareness that watched your childhood pass, that has seen every sunrise of your life. It is watching now as you listen, as you breathe, as you let go. The telescope drifts through its orbit, its instruments steady, its focus perfect. It does not resist motion, it flows with it. And because of that harmony, it sees farther than any machine before it. When you stop resisting your own motion, your thoughts, your emotions, you're becoming, you too see more clearly. Life opens. Stillness deepens. There is nothing to fix in this moment, nothing to reach for. Everything is already reflected in the quiet light of awareness. You can rest there now, in the space where thought flows freely and peace remains untouched. Still light, moving thoughts. Both are beautiful. Both are true. One illuminates, the other observes. Together, they make meaning. If the universe could dream, its dreams would look like this: a golden mirror floating in darkness, listening to light, remembering. That is what the James Webb Space Telescope is doing. Not discovering, not conquering, simply remembering what the universe already knows about itself. Light left its source billions of years ago. And yet, when it lands on those mirrors, it becomes present again. The act of being seen is the act of returning home. And when you sit quietly, when your thoughts settle and your breath slows, you are doing the same. You are the universe remembering itself. Not through data or image, but through awareness. Every cell in your body was once a particle of starfire. Every atom of oxygen you breathe was born in the furnace of a sun. Your bones carry the weight of ancient light. Your skin glows faintly with its echo. Even the pause between your heartbeats is timed to the rhythm of cosmic expansion. You are not in the universe. You, neediverse, folded inward for a while, learning to recognize its own reflection. JWST does not make the cosmos larger. It reminds us that we were always part of it. Its images are mirrors, reflections of our own origin story, of the way curiosity is just memory awakening. When we look at those pictures, the spirals, the clouds, the endless fields of light, we are not just learning about galaxies, we are recognizing the shapes of our own hearts. The patience of starlight, the tenderness of gravity, the trust of stillness. Every gaze into the dark is a kind of remembering. Every moment of wonder is the mind realizing what it has always known, that nothing is truly foreign. Everything that exists is made of the same quiet brilliance. The telescope floats far beyond our reach, and yet, in its silence, it speaks for us. It says, Chifin, we are here, and we remember. We remember the warmth that began everything. We remember how beauty arises from patience. We remember how to look with love instead of fear. You can feel that remembrance within yourself right now. There's a soft light behind your thoughts, steady and calm, unchanged by what passes across it. It's the same light that once crossed space to find a golden mirror. It's the same awareness that once looked at stars from a cave fire. It's the same seeing that exists wherever being exists. You are part of an unbroken lineage of awareness, from the first atom that reacted to light, to the first eye that opened to see it, to you, lying here, listening, breathing, remembering. And when you rest, the universe rests with you. When you grow still, it grows clearer through your calm. You are its reflection, its instrument, its memory made gentle. There is no separation between telescope and sky, between you and the stars, between seeing and being seen. There is only one motion, the universe folding inward, to remember itself, and unfolding again to shine. So as you breathe, let this awareness settle like dust returning to light. Let each inhale feel like discovery, each exhale like release. You are not looking at the universe anymore. You are feeling it from the inside, and what you feel is recognition. Ancient, peaceful, whole. You are the mirror. You are the starlight. You are the observer and the observed. You are the universe, remembering. There comes a time when even the brightest stars grow tired. Their fire, once fierce and full, begins to soften. Their light becomes golden, then red, then pale, and at last they fade. But this is not a tragedy. It is the way the universe breathes. The James Webb Space Telescope has seen this quiet cycle unfold, stars swelling in their final years, their light diffusing into clouds that glow like sunset mist. It has watched them release what they no longer need, giving their essence back to space, so that new stars may someday form from the dust they leave behind. In the great rhythm of creation, nothing is wasted. Every brightness that fades becomes the seed of another dawn. If you could stand near one of these dying suns, you would not see destruction. You would see beauty of another kind. A bloom of color so vast and soft that it could cradle 1,000 worlds. You would feel warmth, not heat. Peace, not fear. It is as though the universe itself sighs in light before it rests. JWST captures these moments in delicate detail. Petals of gas spreading across the dark, shaped by invisible winds, painted in blues and rose golds that human eyes could never invent. They look like flowers suspended in eternity, their radiance gentle, their endings graceful. Astronomers call them sign-planetary nebulae, but the name is just a shadow of their truth. They are reminders that even in death, there is artistry. The light that escapes those fading stars will travel for billions of years, passing unseen worlds, crossing galaxies until one day it touches a mirror of gold. And in that moment, the star lives again, reflected, remembered, reawakened. We are not so different. Our lives, too, are made of cycles. We shine, we dim, we change. But in each transformation, we give something back, a kindness, a memory, a piece of light that travels onward, touching others in ways we may never know. JWST reminds us that fading is not failing. It is fulfillment, the completion of a song that makes room for another to begin. If you listen now, you can feel that rhythm inside you, the inhale of creation, the exhale of release. Even the cells of your body renew in time with it, dying gently so others may live. This is the quiet compassion woven into existence. The stars do not mourn their fading. They surrender to it. They trust the next form their light will take. And the universe, like a patient artist, gathers every scattered particle, every spark, every soft echo, and begins again. So when you see a star grow dim, or when something in your own life changes shape, remember, the light is not gone. It has simply moved on to another purpose, perhaps to warm a new sun, perhaps to rest in the dark for a while, perhaps to become part of you. There is no true ending, only quiet transitions, each one beautiful, each one necessary. The telescope continues to drift, its gaze steady on the fading blooms of the cosmos. It sees not loss, but continuity, a dance of endings turning into beginnings, so seamless that they become one. And you, listening now, are part of that same pattern. You are the witness to the universe's tender patience. You are its living continuation. Every breath you take is another sunrise inside the dark. Every letting go is another star returning home. When a star reaches the end of its long life, it does not vanish. It becomes dust, not the dust of neglect or forgetting, but the dust of promise. The smallest particles of what once burned bright, now scattered gently through space. The James Webb Space Telescope can see this dust. It glows faintly in infrared light, a whisper of warmth where light has slowed but not stopped. Through JWST's eyes, those clouds of debris shimmer softly, like embers floating in water. This dust is sacred. From it, new worlds are born. Planets form, moons take shape. Oceans eventually rise and cool. The very air we breathe was once the final breath of ancient stars. It's humbling to realize that endings are the beginning of everything we know, that every mountain, every tree, every heartbeat is made of what the universe once let go of. In the quiet dark, the telescope captures images of these dust clouds, vast and delicate, woven with gold and rose and violet. They are the ashes of brilliance, and yet they glow as though remembering the fire that made them. We often fear endings, thinking they are the edge of life. But the cosmos shows us otherwise. In its rhythm, nothing truly ends. Everything transforms. What was once a star may now be a river. What was once light may now be breath. What was once heat may now be heart. The dust that surrounds new stars contains the elements of life: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, iron, each atom waiting quietly, ready to become something new when the time is right. JWST's instruments are tuned to see that hidden alchemy. In its images, astronomers find the fingerprints of molecules: water, methane, complex organic compounds, all drifting together, preparing to build the next generation of suns and worlds. It is a process without hurry. Dust floats, gathers, collides, and slowly, gravity draws it into form. A spark ignites, light returns, a new star is born, and so the cycle continues, as it has for billions of years, an eternal exchange between creation and release. You are made of that same exchange. Every cell in your body is borrowed matter, on loan from stars that once flared, faded, and returned their gifts to the dark. When you breathe out, you return atoms to the air, and the cycle repeats. Nothing is ever lost. It only changes home. There's peace in that knowing. It means that endings are not mistakes, and that change is the way the universe keeps itself alive. It means that even your quiet moments of letting go, the times when something closes or passes, are part of a larger rhythm of renewal. The telescope, far away in its patient orbit, sees the dust glowing faintly against the black. Each fleck of light it records is a promise, the quiet assurance that creation is always near, even when everything seems to fade. So, as you listen, imagine the dust surrounding you now, not as darkness, but as warmth, tiny sparks of memory and meaning, carrying pieces of what once was and what will be again. You are breathing it. You are made of it. And one day you will give it back so that the next wave of existence may begin. The universe asks for nothing more than that, a gentle participation in its endless cycle of grace. Dust becomes star, star becomes dust, and through it all, light remains. Even galaxies grow old, not in a way that is sad, but in a way that is beautiful. The way autumn leaves turn gold before they fall to feed the soil below. The James Webb Space Telescope has seen this too. It looks into the hearts of galaxies that have burned for billions of years, and in their fading light, it finds a different kind of grace. Their colors change with age. Young galaxies shine in blue, full of new stars, hot and bright. But as they mature, their glow deepens into amber and rose as the youngest stars fade and the older ones remain. It's the universe's version of twilight, a softer, quieter light, a radiance that no longer tries to prove itself. JWST watches this slow evolution unfold, its golden mirrors tuned to see what time has sculpted. Through its eyes we see galaxies stretched thin by gravity, their spirals relaxed into ovals, their edges blurred with distance and memory. They are not as sharp or wild as they once were. They are calm now, settled into the rhythm of being. There's wisdom in their stillness, an understanding that brightness is not the same as meaning, and that even the smallest remaining light can illuminate all that matters. Perhaps aging is like that for us too. At first our lives burn fast and hot, fueled by the need to explore, to reach, to prove. But with time, the edges soften. We begin to glow from within instead of from effort. JWST's images of old galaxies show us that change does not mean loss. It means transformation, the refinement of light into wisdom. In the oldest galaxies, stars are fewer, but each one shines with a clarity that can only come from endurance. Their orbits are smoother, their patterns simpler, their energy calm. They are what happens when chaos learns to rest. Light from those ancient systems has traveled billions of years to reach the telescope's gaze. By the time it arrives, entire civilizations of stars have lived and gone, and yet their glow endures, soft, unwavering, patient. It reminds us that time does not erase, it reveals. It sands away what is unnecessary until only essence remains. The telescope itself is aging, too. Slowly, silently, its mirrors cooling, its orbit tracing the same gentle path each year. Someday, it will cease to function, and even that will be a continuation. Its parts drifting, its memory carried in every image it sent home. And you, too, are part of that rhythm. You are an unfolding galaxy of moments, billions of experiences, each one shaping you into something more refined. Every heartbeat is a star, every breath a spiral arm, every memory a faint glow still traveling through you. There is peace in knowing that you are allowed to grow old like the galaxies, gracefully, beautifully, without needing to stay bright forever. Even as your body changes, your awareness remains unchanged, endless, like the still center of a turning spiral. The universe does not fear aging, it trusts it, because with each cycle something new is born, a deeper harmony, a calmer light, a purer reflection of what has always been. So rest in that same trust now. You are not moving toward an end, but toward clarity, toward peace. As the galaxies drift through their long twilight, they continue to shine quietly, content to let their light go on without them. That light will reach us one day, softly, patiently, as proof that nothing, not even time, can dim what was made of love and wonder. Somewhere beyond the galaxies we can see, there is light still traveling. It began its journey billions of years ago, and it has not yet found a mirror to meet it. It moves endlessly through the dark, a soft river with no shore. The James Webb Space Telescope can only reach so far. Even its golden eyes, its delicate instruments and endless patience cannot catch every photon that was ever born. Beyond its reach, light continues to wander, unseen, unmeasured, but not forgotten. This light is not lost, it is simply on its way. The universe is vast enough to let its stories take their time. Not every glow needs to be witnessed to have meaning. Not every question needs an answer to be whole. JWST gazes toward the edge of what is visible, and beyond that edge, there is silence. A dark so deep it feels alive. But within that silence, the universe is still whispering. It is speaking in light too faint to hear, in languages made of possibility. That, perhaps, is its gentlest lesson. That mystery is not absence. It is grace. It is what allows wonder to breathe. If everything were known, if every photon had already been caught, there would be no longing, no awe, no reason to lift our eyes. The unknown is the space that gives beauty room to move. Think of all that unseen light crossing the dark with no destination. It does not despair. It does not seek approval. It simply goes on shining, trusting that one day, somewhere, someone, or something will receive it. You are made of that same faith. Every kindness you've ever given, every word, every smile is its own kind of light, sent into the universe without knowing where it will land. And yet, it always goes somewhere. Even if unseen, it travels, echoing quietly through the hearts of others, through memory, through time. Just like starlight, the telescope reminds us that light never truly stops. It may stretch, fade, soften, but it continues. Even when it grows too faint to see, it still moves forward, carrying its story across the fabric of space. Perhaps that is what we are meant to learn, that our purpose is not to arrive, but to travel, to give off light simply because we can. Somewhere, far beyond even JWST's reach, light that began when the universe was young still journeys onward. It has no audience, no hurry, no destination. It just is. And in that being there is perfection. So too, in your own life, there will be moments that go unseen, acts of care no one names, dreams that never find completion. They are not wasted. They are light that continues, soft, enduring, and real. The telescope cannot see that light, but it can imagine it. And maybe that imagining is enough to make it matter. You do not have to reach every horizon. You do not have to understand every mystery. You can rest in the knowing that the unseen still exists, the unmeasured still moves, the unanswered still glows. For somewhere in the vast distance, a photon is still traveling. Its path is endless, its faith unbroken. And in its persistence, you can find your peace, because even what never arrives is part of the light. Night, in its truest form, is not the absence of light. It is the presence of peace. When the last stars dim, when the final glow softens into the fabric of space, the universe exhales. Its breath becomes stillness. The James Webb Space Telescope floats within that rest, a small golden lantern drifting through endless dark. Around it, everything moves slowly, gracefully, without urgency. Galaxies turn like slow thoughts. Light travels like dreams. The telescope listens. It is easy to think of night as something that falls, but perhaps it rises, lifting over us like water, enclosing us gently, so we can drift inside it. Out there, far beyond Earth's shadow, JWST is surrounded by this infinite night. It feels no wind, no sound, no boundary, and yet it is not alone. The night itself is company, a quiet, living presence that holds everything equally. You can feel that same presence now. Close your eyes. Let the space around you soften. Notice how the air touches your skin, how the silence has a shape. This is the same night that surrounds the stars, the same silence the telescope floats within. Nothing stirs it. Nothing disturbs it. It is the universe's oldest lullaby. The telescope gathers light from dying stars, but even as it does, it becomes part of the darkness it studies. Its mirrors reflect galaxies, but they also reflect the void, the gentle nothing that gives light its meaning. Without this dark, there could be no dawn, no fire, no memory. Night is the canvas that makes radiance visible, and as the telescope drifts, its orbit unwavering, it too begins to rest, not in stillness alone, but in harmony. Everything it has ever seen, every photon it has ever caught, continues to travel onward, finding new paths, new eyes, new mirrors. Nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. Somewhere, light is still moving. Somewhere else, a new star is forming. And here within you, the same rhythm hums quietly. You are part of this night. Your body, your breath, your thoughts slowing to a whisper. They are all the universe practicing stillness through you. The galaxies are far away, but their peace is near. It lives in the pause between your breaths. It lives in the warmth behind your eyelids. It lives in the quiet ache of awe that comes when you remember how vast everything is and how kind it feels to rest inside it. JWST will keep watching for many years, long after this moment ends, long after its voice fades into the cosmic background. But for now, it too is resting in the infinite night, cradled by the silence it seeks to understand. And you are resting in the same silence. You are as old as the stars, as soft as the dust that made them, as still as the space between their fading light. Let that truth hold you now. Let the dark feel like an embrace, not an end. You are floating, weightless, timeless, safe. The night does not ask you to stay awake. It asks you to trust it, to let go, to drift. The stars have faded, the galaxies sleep, and the telescope, golden and quiet, turns slowly in the darkness, dreaming the same dream as you. For both of you, rest is not the opposite of discovery. It is discovery's reward. All light returns to this peace. All motion ends in this calm. And all who listen long enough find that the infinite night is not empty at all. It is home. After long silence, the universe breathes again, not loudly, not suddenly, but like dawn spreading across an endless horizon. The dark does not vanish, it softens, and from within it, light begins to rise once more. The James Webb Space Telescope. It has watched stars fade into dust and dust turn into stars again. It has seen what endings become when given enough time. Now, even its own mirrors gleam faintly as sunlight touches them from far away. A golden shimmer, a quiet exhale after so much stillness. The universe is doing what it has always done, expanding, returning, renewing. You can feel it too, in the slow rhythm of your breath, in the pulse beneath your hand, in the warmth that remains even when everything seems still. That's the same motion that carries galaxies forward. The slow inhale and exhale of existence. For billions of years, the cosmos has repeated this gentle act, creation and rest, glow and shadow, birth and silence. There was never one beginning, and there will never be one end. It is all the same breath, moving through different forms. JWST sees this in every image it sends home. A nebula blooming from the ashes of a star. A young galaxy rising out of what once was dust. Light finding its way through dark, because the dark allows it to. Even here, on this small blue world, you are part of that continuation. Every morning, light finds you again. Every heartbeat echoes the same ancient rhythm. You are not outside the cosmos. You are its living memory. The telescope watches as the universe exhales. Clouds drift, stars awaken, and new light travels into the endless sea. It does not hurry. It does not strain. It simply follows its nature. That is what renewal really is. Not a restart, but a gentle continuation. When you rest, you are not stopping. You are resetting, rejoining the rhythm of creation. Your breath expands outward. Your mind releases what it no longer needs. And when you inhale again, you become new. The same process that shapes galaxies, shapes your thoughts. your moments, your life. Every ending you have ever known was the beginning of something else. Every silence has been a doorway. Every night, a seed of dawn. JWST's orbit carries it in a perfect balance, a slow repetition that never grows old. It mirrors the universe's own breathing, forward and back, outward and inward, light and shadow. There is no struggle in that motion, only harmony. The stars you see now are the universe remembering how to shine again. Their light is ancient, but their meaning is always new. So when you breathe in, you are part of that renewal. When you breathe out, you are contributing to the calm that allows everything else to grow. The universe breathes, and so do you. Both inhale wonder, both exhale peace. In this eternal rhythm, there is nothing to lose and nothing to gain, only the continuous unfolding of being. So rest here as the cosmos begins its next dawn. You are inside its first light again, not separate from it, but made of it. The same light that once left a star to travel billions of years now glows quietly behind your eyes. You are the sunrise the universe has been waiting for. The golden mirror still watches silent, steady, unblinking. 1,000,000 miles from home, the James Webb Space Telescope turns slowly, its petals of light catching the faint warmth of distant suns. It does not sleep, though it moves through endless night. It simply remains, open and listening. There is no hurry in its gaze. Each second stretches wide, long enough for starlight to arrive, for galaxies to reveal themselves in the faintest shades of color. It has become more than a telescope now. It is a memory, a presence, a golden witness to everything that has ever been, and everything still becoming. When JWST looks into the dark, it is not searching for something missing. It is honoring what already exists. It watches because watching is enough. To notice, to receive, to reflect. These are its entire purpose, and they are enough to make it shine. That is its secret gift to us, to remind us that awareness itself is a form of love, that staying open, even when the world feels distant, is a kind of devotion. The telescope drifts through silence, but it is never lonely. It is surrounded by light, some arriving, some leaving, all moving through it. The same is true for you. Even in solitude, you are part of an invisible conversation. Your thoughts, your warmth, your kindness travel outward, and something unseen answers back. Perhaps you've felt that before, the quiet sense of being held by something larger than yourself. That feeling is real. It is the same calm gravity that keeps JWST in perfect orbit, balancing between two worlds, never falling, never drifting away. Every mirror aboard, it is still flawless. Years in space, and the gold remains pure. Not because it resists the dark, but because the dark cannot harm it. It was made for this silence. You were, too. You were made for stillness, for reflection, for wonder. Inside you, there is a mirror just as golden, a part of you that observes, that understands, that endures. It has watched you through every season of your life, through every brightness and every fade, and it still reflects gently without judgment, without end. The telescope's watch continues, long after scientists rest, long after news and noise fade. It will go on seeing. Its images will travel home across time, each one a quiet letter from the universe. I am still here, and in a way, so are we. Every time someone looks up, every time a child learns its name, the connection renews. The golden mirror still watches, and through its gaze, we remember our own. Even as it floats in its faraway orbit, it remains tethered to Earth by a thread of communication, a thin signal carrying its whispers of discovery. It's a fragile thread, but unbroken, like the invisible connection between you and the things you love. It's proof that distance does not end belonging. It only expands it. So when you think of the telescope, that quiet flower of gold in the dark, you can imagine it thinking of you too. You are, after all, part of the light it receives. Your atoms were born in the stars it studies. Its vision is, in some way, your reflection. And so it continues, the golden mirror turning, the starlight arriving, the universe breathing, you resting. Each part of the whole aware of the others, each quietly saying to the rest, I see you. I am still here. I am still here. Why, the telescope will one day fade, its mirrors cool, its signal quiet. because the light it reflected will keep traveling, and in that endless motion, its purpose continues, just as you will. In the great silence of space, the telescope listens. It has no ears, no breath, no heart that beats, and yet it hears everything. Light touches its golden surface, and in that touch, meaning appears. The James Webb Space Telescope is not looking for noise or spectacle. It listens for truth written in light, a truth so faint, so ancient, that only patience can hear it. You are doing the same right now. You are the listener, not with your ears, but with your presence. The quiet that surrounds you, the stillness that expands when you breathe slowly, that is your own mirror, your own receiving surface. Every thought that moves through you is a wave of light meeting awareness, and in the instant that you notice it, something miraculous happens. It becomes understood, not explained, just known. That knowing is what connects you to the universe, because the universe too listens. For all its vastness, space is not empty. It is full of messages, echoes, unfolding energies. Every particle hums a note. Every beam of light carries a memory. Every silence holds a word unspoken. JWST floats in that ocean of messages, translating their whispers into images. Photons turned into color, data into story, mystery into wonder. But the act of listening itself is the real miracle, because to listen is to love, to open oneself to what is, without demanding it to be anything else. And that is what the telescope teaches us, to listen without trying to change, to receive without needing to own, to see without separating ourselves from what is seen. When light hits JWST's mirrors, it is no longer distant. It becomes part of the telescope, part of the receiver, part of the moment now. It has arrived. It has been witnessed. It has been understood. When awareness meets a thought, the same thing happens. It dissolves into presence. There is no boundary between what observes and what is observed. The listener and the light become one. You can feel that unity now, the warmth in your chest, the slow rhythm of your breath, the way your mind grows wide enough to hold everything without tension. That feeling is not imagination. It is remembrance. It is you remembering what the universe has always known, that there is no separation, only reflection. The telescope drifts through its silent orbit, and you drift with it, two witnesses of the same calm. Light meets gold, breath meets stillness. Both acts are sacred. Sometimes when JWST sends an image home, it shows us light that has traveled for 13 billion years. And yet, when we see it, it feels immediate. That is the truth of all awareness. What is ancient becomes now the moment it is received. You, too, are a receiver of ages. Every breath you take contains atoms that once moved through stars. Every thought you have is built from the same forces that shaped galaxies. You are not watching the universe. You are how the universe watches itself. When you rest, it rests through you. When you listen, it listens through you. When you open your heart, the galaxies open their arms. In that connection, everything slows. The difference between telescope and observer fades. Between human and light, there is only awareness, infinite, patient, awake. You are the listener. You are the light, both at once. There will come a time, far beyond counting, far beyond memory, when the stars will grow dim again. Their fuel will fade. Their light will stretch thin across an endless night. But it will not be the end. It will be the sooty long sleep of the cosmos N, a rest so deep, so kind, that everything which ever was can finally exhale. The James Webb Space Telescope will no longer orbit then. Its mirrors will cool, its signals will fade into silence, and it will drift quietly among the stars it once studied. No sorrow will touch it. It will simply become part of what it loved. Even the galaxies will grow slow. Their arms will relax. Their shapes will blur into gentle fog. Light will travel farther and farther until it becomes part of the dark again. Not lost, just home. In that infinite quiet, the universe will rest, not as something ended, but as something complete. And you, listening here, are made of that same rhythm. Every night when you fall asleep, you practice the universe's oldest ritual. You let go of form. You dissolve back into the soft dark that holds everything together. It is not forgetting. It is remembering, the way light remembers its source, even as it fades. Sleep is the body's way of returning to the stillness from which it came. Every breath slows, every thought softens, and awareness becomes vast again, no longer a single mind, but an ocean of peace. When JWST rests, its instruments turn inward, cool and quiet. It no longer reaches for light, it simply allows what remains to arrive. That is how the universe sleeps, too, by allowing itself to be, and that is how you can sleep now. Not by trying, not by effort, but by allowing yourself to be held by the same calm that holds the stars. Close your eyes and imagine the telescope drifting, its golden mirrors folding softly like petals at dusk. Imagine the galaxies around it settling into silence, their light slowing to a pulse, their motion to a sigh. All things breathe together, all things rest together. Even in the quiet that seems eternal, there will still be warmth, tiny sparks in the dark, small fires of being that refuse to truly go out. They are the heartbeat of forever, the soft promise that even after the longest sleep, light will stir again, because that is what the universe does. In that dreaming, new suns form from what has rested long enough. New worlds rise from what once fell still. New eyes open somewhere and see the first light of another dawn. The cosmos will wake slowly, as it always has, and begin again, breathing, shining, wondering. But for now, it sleeps, and you may sleep with it. Let the rhythm of your breath match the rhythm of its great rest. Let your heartbeat be its final pulse of light. Let your thoughts drift into its endless dark like galaxies becoming mist. There is nothing to hold on to now, because nothing can be lost. Every atom of you is already eternal, every moment already part of everything. The stars sleep. The telescope sleeps. And the universe through you finds peace. Rest now. You are safe in the long night. You are home in the stillness between breaths. You are part of the dream the cosmos is having about itself. Sleep well, small piece of infinity. Sleep deeply. The universe will keep watch. The night is quiet again. The stars are steady, and the sooty James Webb Space Telescope drifts, golden and calm, watching, listening, dreaming. Light still travels toward it, slow, patient, eternal. Even now, photons that began before Earth existed are on their way, carrying memories of fire and creation. They will reach the telescope someday, touch its mirrors, and find new life in reflection. The universe never stops dreaming. Even in its stillness, something inside it keeps moving, a pulse of possibility, a hum that never fades. That hum is in you too. It's in your chest, in your breath, in the warmth that fills your hands. You are not separate from the universe's dream. You are one of the ways it continues to imagine itself. JWST floats 1,000,000 miles away, but distance is an illusion. Its mirror and your heart are made of the same light. Every photon that finds gold finds you. The telescope dreams outward, gazing into time, catching the echoes of beginnings. You dream inward, traveling through memory, through feeling, through everything you are. Both are the same dream, just seen from different directions. The universe is dreaming forward through you. Every choice you make, every kindness you share, every quiet moment of wonder ripples through space and time like soft light from a star. It doesn't end where you are. It travels, it touches, it continues. You are starlight in motion, consciousness expanding, a part of the same eternal unfolding the telescope records in silence. And though your body will rest tonight, you are not stopping. You are continuing, moving gently through the dream of existence, learning what it feels like to be awake inside infinity. If you could see the telescope now, you would find it gliding peacefully through darkness, its golden mirrors facing the quiet beyond all noise. No sound, no rush, just motion within stillness. It is dreaming of galaxies, of worlds unseen, of stars that have not yet begun to shine. And as you breathe here, you are dreaming the same dream. You are imagining the next sunrise, the next kindness, the next beginning. Your breath is the universe rehearsing its rebirth. The dark around you is not absence. It's the soft space where creation gathers its strength, the pause before another dawn, the hush before another song. Somewhere far away, a star is being born. Its first light is already on its way to us, traveling through the silence, crossing billions of years, carrying a message it doesn't need to speak. I am here. I always was. And so are you. The telescope keeps its watch. The galaxies keep their rhythm. You keep your breath. Each motion is part of the same circle, each silence, another word in the universe's unending story. You can rest in that knowledge now, that nothing ever truly stops, that even sleep is continuation, that every end is a curve returning to the start. The night outside your window is the same night that holds JWST, the same night that cradled the first light, the same night that waits to welcome new stars. You are held in it, safe, unhurried, infinite. The universe breathes again, and you breathe with it. The golden mirror still watches, and your awareness mirrors its calm. The listener and the light have become one. Everything that has ever been and everything still to come exists quietly here, in this moment, in this breath, in this peace. So rest now. Let the universe dream through you. Let time fade into warmth. Let the story fold into silence. Because nothing has ended. It has only begun again.